There we go. A full 20 days later, we're continuing the developer playthrough. Yeah, it's been a bit. I don't know why it took us so long. I mean, so right now it's just me. Maybe someone else is gonna join us later. Maybe Monty is gonna join us later. Yeah. We had time to, because the last stream was 2 days after release, and now we had some time to reflect on everything, to process it properly, because yeah, releasing this game is has been pretty crazy. The reception from people, and also just like processing all of the feedback and people's thoughts and all that. It's a strange experience to release something that you've poured your heart and soul into for years and years on end, and then it's just done and you're just finished. There are some updates that are gonna come. Someone asked about Russian dubbing. I'm not gonna add dubs because I don't have the time or ability to quality control that. Because spoken words are much more difficult to implement than subtitles. However, I have a full Russian subtitle translation, which is going to be added in the next update. It's been requested a lot. But yeah, dubs I don't plan to, because there are so many other things that you don't consider with that. Is, first of all, of course, the style, right? You have to find another actor who can sort of match the style of the original voice actor, and then you have all of the problems like animation not matching up anymore and all of that stuff, right? It just becomes so much more complicated. Or like scenes not syncing up properly anymore. So many side effects that you have to account for. So that it's just not gonna happen. Well, we left it off at I can't type anymore. I had a very nice vacation. I haven't typed on this keyboard in a week. Yeah, we left off at the end of Act 1. Is this loud enough? My graphics card is an RTX 3060 Ti. Yeah, no cube maps in here. Oof, that's rough. Yeah,
Take a look out that window for a moment.
Okay, Sterling. Yeah, we did just ride the elevator to the surface. Why is the FOV? Is this always how the FOV is? I guess it is. Turn it up a bit higher. Yeah, what do I want to say? Yeah, we just took the elevator to the surface, and this is something that in the 8 years of Revolution's development, I have to pause this preview, this is stupid. This is something that hasn't changed. Like, it was always the plan. Like, I started this mod in 2016 when I barely knew anything about Portal modding specifically. But the basic idea of first chapter starts in like clean style, second chapter is overgrown. This has always stayed the same, and then the third would be having background tubes and being a different part of the facility that is not overgrown. That was always the same, sort of. Yeah, one thing we thought about in the elevator ride here is to have, during the elevator ride, have to be a vista of the outside, so you know you have this like nice reveal moment, and I even started mapping that stuff, but on one hand it was just awkward that you would have this like, why would the suns be streaming in from the side, right? If you reach the surface, you would guess that like the geometry would have to be that you're on like the side of a cliff or something, and then there's just this reveal, and the sun would have to stream from the side and stuff like that. And also, yeah, it just didn't work basically. So we saved the reveal for this vista here, which I think worked out pretty nicely.
See that huge spire in the distance? That's where we're headed. Little confession. I don't know for sure whether it still works. It is possible that there is just a pile of rubble waiting for us.
Judging by how torn apart this place is, I'd give that chance a possibility of... you know what? Never mind.
Yeah. This vista, man, oh my god, this took so long to create, holy crap. In early iterations of this map, you would come out here, and this interior would, this interior basically didn't change for like 2-3 years, with some sea fighting, and then you would go through here, which is also a nice screenshot area here. Yeah, but then all of this just didn't exist. Like all of this exterior here took, we blew off so much. We didn't want to start working on this because large environments like these, they just take so much time to create, and this is nothing like you've ever seen in a Portal mod before, right? We tend to forget just how much more grand our environments are compared to anything that's been out there in terms of Portal mods. I mean, even Portal 2 is overgrown. You never get a large vista like this. You always spend, yeah, it's always like a small little tube that goes like 20 meters in the air, and then you just see a white sky. But with our environments, with our outdoor environments, we really wanted to show you the topmost parts of the facility, how it's, and you can see the sky and everything. So this is a skybox. It's called Clarence Midday. It's a 3D skybox from HDR Haven, or Polyhaven, I mean. Yeah, which just makes this whole area just feel much more natural and sort of realistic. Little like collapsed ceiling that later is even more collapsed, so you can't go up anymore. I thought that was nice. Yeah, spoilers of course, but yeah, later you revisit this whole area, and that has been one of the biggest headaches for us in terms of mapping, because we have this one map here, like this one area is placed in 4 different maps, I think. 5 different maps actually. No, just 4. It's in this one, A to N. It's also in the background map for Act 4, and the background map for Act 5, for the post-game act, basically, but for the post-game background menu. And it's also in A for intro, so when you come back here with Conley and Sterling's on this monitor and all. And having to juggle all of these different versions of the maps is an absolute nightmare, because yeah, you can try to make instances and stuff, but that just makes it even more difficult to edit. So basically we just copy pasted everything across all the time, and pretty much just said, okay, yeah, this version of the decorations, this is locked now, we will not change this anymore, and that just makes it so inflexible. Luckily we didn't really have to change the decorations here too much, except for maybe the platform here, because yeah, later you actually walk across this little pile of debris over into here, where there's obviously nothing in here. So yeah, we try to keep the changes minimal, but that was a big headache. We thought we would save time by doing that, but I think we just did it too much, because we had 4 maps that all have the same geometry. Yeah. We also did that for the spire interior, of course. That was also pretty annoying. It wasn't that bad since one of them was much much more static than the other. But still, this is something that you think would save you time, but in the end, it just maybe it did save us time, because you don't have to make the same, like, yeah, you can reuse environments, but if you change anything, then that change is much more expensive.
I hate to say it, but we need to find a testing track. Look, I'm sorry. I don't want to torture you with endless testing.
Endless testing
tier.
tier.
That you're capable. Problem is that these backstage areas aren't built to be as durable as the test chambers. To cover any ground here, we need to move between testing tracks.
One thing you probably don't hear, or you don't consciously hear until it's wrong, is the DSPs, the digital sound processing. Basically, the little echo and distortion stuff that makes the sound, the voice lines, feel like they're coming from the environment. And also just the soundscapes in general. It's something you never notice, but it takes a long time to make those. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's just one of those things that you spend a lot of time as a developer, and no one notices it, right? Like, okay, yeah, you made this cool environment. Everyone like takes a screenshot, and it's very visual. And hi,
Hey.
Monty.
Oh, you're on this.
You
map.
joined. I'm in.
Yes.
I'm in HR outside. Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about soundscapes. How making those is just the most unrewarding process, because
Yeah.
you make a vista like this and everyone likes it, and then you make a soundscape and no one notices that you've done anything.
But they'll notice it if they don't. If it's not there.
If the soundscape is wrong, if the soundscape is bad, then you notice it immediately.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah,
But yeah,
These-
that Vista took so long.
you made these nice sunflowers. Those are really, really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, these environments, this is sort of the last remnant of the more naturalistic style that we had for a while, where you would walk on grass and you had all of these like rocks and stuff and cliffs. Yeah, we didn't really go that far with that because we just didn't have the assets really, and I never thought it looked that good because of that. Like this area here, I mean, this transition area is nothing special, but this area here, I think this is
Yeah,
quite nice.
This changed quite a lot with the old
changed
version.
so much.
We had that ravine type thing before. It was like really cool, but it was kind of a pain to navigate, I think.
Yeah, we still sort of have that, right?
Yeah.
It's just you have the rock on one side and then the more traditional aperture structure on the left side. But yeah, this used to be very, very different. People don't even recognize that it's the same place.
Yeah, but it's the same geometry as if you look at the old version.
Yeah, let me find a screenshot if we ever have one. Oh, that was before P2C. Yeah, I mean, okay, so this is a screenshot from one of our from one of mine and Ace's workshop maps. But it was much more like this, where you had a lot of the rocks and the foliage. And it's sort of still like this. We wanted to. This was actually style guide for Act 4. We never really went with that. In the end, I still like the idea.
Stop using those rock props actually for the environments as well. We sort of stuck with displacements and custom models.
Yeah, the rock props are difficult because the lighting is lighting
Oh,
and
yeah.
source on props is
Awful.
pretty bad. It is vertex lit, so you don't. If you just stick two rocks into each other, the lighting is just not gonna be good. Right, so this area here was the first version of that. You can still see this one
I don't think I've seen
structure.
this.
This one structure hasn't changed at all. It's still the exact same. But yeah, you would walk on a floor here, and there would be like a river and a waterfall and stuff. I just could never get the effects to work because I just wasn't good effects artist. It's still something I struggle with most, making those like effects, particles and stuff.
Yeah, particles are quite hard.
Yeah.
There's no one that knows how to use them as well. It's like, or to make them. Sorry, it's just such a pain.
So yeah, this one structure has stayed the exact same, which I think is funny that this is still here. People have seen this in a. All of the rest is very different.
God, the lighting makes so much difference.
Yep, people have seen this in a. This screenshot has been shown when I ported this to use CSM, because this still uses projected textures from Portal 2, which aren't great, especially for this stuff, because the resolution would just be horrible. Yeah. I'm glad that we went with this. Although the ceiling, this kind of looked a bit cool, but yeah.
Oh god, yeah, but that's the worst thing. Though. You get those big white spots, and it just looks really weird.
Yeah, I really like this new version. The big beams and everything, and it feels very like you look up and there are things that like it feels like it's going on still for a bit.
Yeah, one of the biggest difficulties with these like big open skies is like how do you end them?
Yeah.
Like it's like one of the biggest things that always look really awkward because they just sort of stopped randomly, but
yeah,
sort of just because if you block it up too much and you block the sun, then it just sort of looks really dark and it's a really weird balancing act.
Yeah. Visually, it looks best if it towers up really far.
Yeah.
But the problem is if you have like if this is a big cylinder. Oh yeah, you can see the outside here, which is fun. This is just a skybox. If you tower up too much, then no sunlight goes through anymore. So you have to balance it. And one way that we do it is we sort of have this V shape where everything is like in this bowl, so the sunlight can still stream in. But yeah, it is a tough balancing act, and also some players just never look up, and you don't have infinite budget for decorations.
And it's also really hard to blend things that go up into the sky with the skybox. There's no exponential height fall or anything, so it's just like it'll always be like a hard cutoff. And that's another thing we had with A2 End with the big spire. We literally blocked off the whole sky because it's just there's no way to.
Oh yeah. We should talk about that when we get to it. That was that took so long to decorate. Yeah, Act 2 is definitely one of our most. It took a lot of effort to decorate this act.
Definitely.
One thing that helped us was using instances, instance. This is funny. This is actually still from the same early version of that map. It was always been tilted like that. But yeah, we just have these instances which are just like pre-made sections of map that we just copy paste around, and I still try to map something new every time, so it isn't just instances. But these have helped a ton in development. You will probably see this like structure here a few times in the mod if you look closely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, this is an instance here, I think, but the rest shouldn't.
They're most probably instances too.
No, most of these aren't instances actually. Most of this I mapped myself. Yeah.
Ah, fair enough. But yeah, it just saves so much time.
Yeah. But yeah, gameplay-wise, I really like this. How you like come in from down here, and just you're like sort of lower down, and you walk underneath this structure, and you've got this test chamber with the ball launcher here, and all of the little things that you can look at. There's so much detail everywhere. And then you go further down, jump on the catwalk. Got a lower section.
It all like connects as well. Like, I think it's just like so.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things I've ever grown, and also one of the worst. It's just one of those.
Yeah, I really wanted to show, like, to make it feel like these areas are broken, because in Portal 2 and also in Mel, I always compare it to Mel, not to shit on Mel, just to it was the biggest inspiration for us. One thing that in those overgrown sections in those games, the broken areas still feel very functional and not like they're too destroyed. Like, you can always navigate through them how you want. And then also in the narrative, because if Sterling wants you to just go to the spire, why wouldn't he give you a more direct route? Like, why does he test you again, right? Because at first, Sterling tests you because you're actually... What those are my blinds closing? My blinds are closing, I'm waiting.
Alright.
Because apparently this is a really annoying sound. So, I'll just wait. Yeah, right, because, yeah, why wouldn't Sterling just help you, right? So, in a narrative, I thought, well, let's make these backstage areas be really, like, destroyed, and you can't navigate wherever you want. So, and then the test chambers are built more durable, and I explained it in the narrative as well, which I think gives a nice reason as to why you're still being tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at first, he's actually testing you.
But this testing track isn't in
Yeah,
good shape.
this dialogue.
There should be another one not far from here. See if you can find it.
Yeah, and one interesting thing is that this is again from the early version of the map. Don't I have a better screenshot?
You do, I'm pretty sure. There's a more complete version.
Yeah, but I'm still very far. I'm in 2020 right now.
Oh god.
I think I have to go into my P2C screenshots. Let me just quickly change this to gameplay footage. I love it when I can't open Steam. Hello? Steam? Steam just had problems opening for me. It just doesn't open. Like, the program is just... It doesn't appear. This is so weird. Is it like behind the game or something? I'm just going to make a save. Where is Steam? I connected to this using RDP, and maybe it's like on a monitor that doesn't exist.
That. Good. It shows it isn't like in the background, like just not.
No, it's not. Dude, I opened it 20 times. It's still not there. It's. Yeah, I connected to this PC with RDP and then other stuff, so it may have been messed up because of that. Because some of this stuff happens with on Windows, I guess. Well, I guess I'll just not look at it then. Let's load the save.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so in the older version, this was much different. You had a ravine and everything. Yeah, so actually the ravine was in the next area. So you would crawl through a little weird area.
The whole vent area.
Yeah, then you had a vent where you would drop down, and then you had this ravine area sort of, which is similar to this. And then you would find this broken test chamber that has a portal in there. Because again, making behind the scenes chambers, test puzzles using. When you only have the one portal, it's really difficult because you need to give the player a portal spawner. So in here we're entering a test chamber. Players had a lot of trouble seeing this surface here for some reason, which is fun. Because they thought that they would have to solve the chamber and stuff. So we added the little thing here and the voice lines.
Good attempt, but this test is broken. You need to find another one.
This was actually one of Ace's first contributions to the project. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, this was
this logic here, which was horrendous.
Oh god, he named the logic relay logic, I think.
Yeah.
Like, or relay.
Logic relay called logic relay. We're all starting somewhere, but that was funny to me. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. He's always been good at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Complex niche logic things.
Yeah. So yeah, the test just broke, so we've got all of the like destroyed things here. I think they also scripted this stuff.
Probably.
And the broken glass, and then this is all general just, doesn't work anymore. So it tells you that it's broken.
This chamber always had a weird lighting though. Like even from like the start. It just never lit. Like.
I think it's pretty good now.
I think we fixed it a lot. But before it was all really.
Yeah, there were a lot of issues because if you have light environment, it just sometimes causes problems.
Yeah,
But lighting this area took a while, which is weird because you don't expect this to be a problem.
I think if we added like a protected texture somewhere, I think it would have helped.
I think it's good how it is now. But
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of problems. It also doesn't help that there's a named light in here. That doesn't help it at all.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, you have to abandon this cube and go through here. But yeah, this thing here, oh my god. See how the shadows don't bug out?
Oh god, yeah. My god, that was a headache for you, I'm pretty sure.
That took me years to
3
figure
years
out.
or something in the way, yeah. Just to get CSM to work through portals. So it was
Yeah.
real pain.
So I will try to explain it. Basically, the lighting here that you see, these shadows, are rendered in real time. They're dynamic. They're using the Cascade Shadow Maps technique from CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And basically how they work is, the closer you are to the surface, the higher resolution the shadows are. So if you go further back, they fade out. So these shadows are the
menu.
No, I'm not gonna.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna explain it in layman's terms, basically. So yeah, basically the closer you are to the surface, the higher resolution the shadows will be. And if you go further back, the shadows will be low resolution. So the resolution of the surface shadows depends on the distance from the player's camera, right? And that means that if you look through a portal, if you look through the portal here, these shadows will have the resolution from where my player camera is to that rock. So not from the camera through the portal. So basically portals broke this. So I spent a lot of time fixing this to get, and it caused the shadow maps to be much slower, because now I have to render an additional shadow map and everything, 2 actually for each portal, 1. But yeah, I'm really proud that I managed to do this. It's something I've wanted. Like, when we started using CSM and noticed these issues, we were like, oh my god, this is really dumb. This is so difficult to fix. Because anything to do with rendering and source is just kind of a nightmare.
Good, yeah.
But luckily I didn't have to use, like, I didn't have to program shaders or anything for this. But yeah, without source code, I mean, without source code we wouldn't even have these shadows, but yeah, you think, yeah, let's use this new graphics feature, and then portals come along and break everything, and you have to spend years fixing it. It's always a double-edged sword, and that's another thing that no one will ever notice, that the shadows aren't bugged out. I really like the fog in here, that looks really cool.
Oh yeah. Also, I love the bounce lighting on like the rock model on the left. But I don't know why it works so well, especially on the model.
Yeah, I wonder if it's faked or if it is actually.
If you look down,
curiosity.
actually below the catwalk, there's also more like bounce lighting. It looks really nice. Can't remember what it is, but it's somewhere.
Yeah,
like
another thing here is that we basically always have to compile the exterior maps with the final option, which takes a lot longer, because otherwise the shadowy areas are really noisy. Like the lighting just isn't uniform. It isn't pretty. It's just it looks really really bad. And these areas take a long time to compile anyway, so yeah, that didn't help.
Pain.
This little elevator here. I wanted to add this to sort of add a lot of, like, I love the parallax in this when you ride up, how you go further up. That's what these are just the small, like, little things that, you know, the little level design things that people will notice, like, oh, why does this mod, you know, why does this look so cool? It's actually just because, how do I say this? One thing I tried with the level design is to make the player traverse the same space in different ways. So right, like you come from here and you don't realize that you have to go up here like later. You just think that's just like a decoration, but then you actually come up from here and you revisit the same area again, and now you shoot the portal over to another area that you didn't think was accessible, and now you drop down and you loop back through the same thing.
It makes you feel like it makes it feel the whole levels feel they're not like linear. It feels
Yeah.
sort of exploring. It's just sort of a lot more enjoyable.
Exactly, exploring is the key point. Where in these destroyed areas, I wanted the player to feel like they have to forge their own path for the facility, using methods that you wouldn't normally use. Because yeah, this catwalk probably linked up to that one or something,
And then
but now it's broken,
yeah.
and now you have to use portals. Yeah, to make the player feel like they're exploring this area and forging their own path. Yeah, this little area is quite nice. You actually updated this. This was much more close.
Yeah, I made it like more.
More
You can see the
open.
bottom down as well. And
I always love these. We call this overgrown and this destroyed. Basically, destroyed is anything that's like rusted and stuff, but it doesn't have plants or ceiling, like sunlight
Yeah.
access. It's one of my favorite styles. I think it's really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, again, we're mixing like concrete and some more naturalistic, like some rocks and stuff. Be satisfying this mod. Yeah, we tweaked the movement. I never really liked it. It's sort of a mixture of Portal 1's and 2's movement. Because I prefer Portal 1's movement. Portal 2's jump is too high for me. It feels very floaty. So I toned that down. Took a lot of tweaking.
But yeah, I love the speedrun as well. So, if we change the movement at all.
Yeah, we did.
Sort of,
And some even asked us if we will like add an option to change movement, but that just feels so silly to me, because like doing that just because people just don't want to learn something new, like this is a different game.
yeah.
Yeah, and also that's just in general a terrible idea. Like adding different movement
That will
modes,
definitely
like,
bring
why?
problems.
For what? There should just be one movement that works, and
And it comes
I
to the question
prefer
like
our
what movement to
movement.
use. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a movement speedrunning game. This isn't Geometry Dash or Momentum mod, right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, this area is also quite nice. The little like
I had a few little details in
water.
here. Like
Yeah,
the trash in the water.
the trash on the water and stuff like that.
Quite nice.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Again, to sort of re-emphasize that it's destroyed, like it's an office and it's rotated, so this is all an instance. This stuff just
Good composition.
small
lighting,
details. Yeah, nice lighting. You have to crawl under this a bit. You can also just walk through it, but yeah, sort of it hinders your movement a bit, so it's a bit more. You have to like crawl through the spaces. Yeah. I honestly don't know why we added this chamber. They would just add it. They would just add this because we wanted to replicate the concept art. I think we did.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, it was literally just the reason, and also it's quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there were two reasons. First of all, the concept art was cool, but also I needed to transition the player into a test chamber. But I didn't want to. I sort of wanted to re-emphasize that you're forging your own path through the facility that you find in different places. So I thought it was cool that you would enter a chamber from Portal 1 that is now overgrown, and you have to solve it in a different way using the monoportal, and that way you can get through here. So yeah, so we entered through an observation room. I thought that was nice.
Might be a bit overgrown, but the hardware still works. They really use fine materials for these tests. Have to protect your investments, after all. Unbreakable
Yeah,
materials
nice.
are
Out of those weird
expensive.
cubes.
I think so we didn't replicate the concept up one-to-one. Obviously you can't, but I think we did a pretty good job of emulating the vibe of this.
Especially from this angle, it just works so well.
Very humid and sort of like a lot of plants, right? It's very overgrown, and it feels hot and humid because of the lighting and the fog.
That's really cool.
This turned out really, really nicely, yeah. And if you come in, if you go all the way back, you have the test chamber sign.
An ace thing, definitely.
Yeah, those are little ace touches. And then the door is blocked here. But I really I sort of wish we had to play enter through here, because this just looks so cool how you enter it from down below.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is a style that we never really used in our own test chambers. This style here, we usually have very like a lot of sky access. I mean, we sort of did it in Paint Fizzler. But yeah, I'm just pretty proud of how the decoration here went. This was another one of those cases where Ace made the template and then I just added the plants and all of the little things.
Yeah.
And it's really fun going back to this, because this is like already 2 years old or older.
God, yeah. Was this before I joined? I can't remember if I joined after this was finished or.
I also don't know, but this was concepted definitely still when we had the larger area in the front.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
Why do you make it creepy? Like, I don't know what you mean. Creepy. The music was originally also meant for a completely different area, but we repurposed it for here because we thought it fit well. It's sort of a bit nostalgic and natural sounding to remind you of where you've been before. Yeah. One thing we had to cut is this cube and the portal surface here were actually introduced very differently. We had a platform down here because in Portal 2 there's no portal spawner here. So we added, or rather Ace added a track that replaced the surface. It would move this down and replace it with the portal spawner, which would also at the same time it would deliver the cube. But that stuff was just so buggy because the player could always interfere with it and get stuck down or get the cube stuck, and everything was
absolute
just nightmare.
Menace. Yeah.
Yeah. It looked cool, but yeah, Valve talked in the dev commentary in Portal 2 how they had to keep all of the panel animations to places where the player can't go to, and I definitely understand why because this was a nightmare, and eventually I just had to say, come on guys, this doesn't work, we'll just keep it standard.
I tried as well to get it to work even after, and I just literally I think I almost got it to work, but it just
yeah, I just said, guys, this is gonna be a problem. Even if we can't break it, some other guy will still figure out how to break it. And apparently there's still issues with the cube collision or something. Portals have weird collisions, so people.
Oh god, they would fall down there. As on the left side.
Yeah.
It would just. I think we fixed it. Yeah, like.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Portal environment, portal physics have always been buggy, and this is something that's not really our fault. But yeah, we would have loved to catch that before people found it out in the final game. Yeah. I like adding these mushrooms in areas that are. I don't really know the botanics of everything, but I kind of want to actually think about how plants grow and what type of plants grow where. So, back here there aren't any larger plants, but maybe these mushrooms would grow in more humid, more shaded environments. Because that is something that I see in a lot of community maps where people ask for help. They often have plants in areas where there's only shadow, where the sun can't even reach it.
Yeah.
And I mean, first of all, plants always look best when they're in direct sunlight.
Definitely. That's why we added the font to them.
Yeah, but I should talk about it as well. There's so much to talk about here, my god. And then also, it's just you maybe don't consciously notice why it looks bad or why it looks weird. But yeah, you do realize that, hey, why is this plant growing in the depths of the most shadowy parts of the facility? That doesn't make sense.
It wouldn't.
Yeah. And you don't have to be super strict about it, but just in general, place plants only where there is actual sunlight that can reach it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, the falling cubes. I wasn't a fan of them because the collision is kind of weird. and the physics in general. But yeah, was a fun addition by Ace that made it feel like the structure's breaking apart.
Super cool. If people love God, it was quite fun.
Yeah, people like they go up here and then it falls down and they.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty fun. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely one of my. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of the decorations in here because I think we replicated the vibe of the concept art.
You know that this iteration of your Aperture Science handheld portal device has been specifically configured to not shoot portals further than 8 kilometers.
Yeah, they quickly learn to limit the range on these things. Can easily end the whole world if you put a portal on the side.
There's a problem here with the voice line cutting out too early if you go down. I think it's actually a problem with the scene itself, not with the elevator, because even the subtitles cut out too early. And I had that problem with another scene in Catapult intro, where the voice line just wouldn't play all the way. I swear, weird. Scenes have been a headache for me in this.
Yeah.
In this mod. Choreographed scenes, they're really powerful and pretty cool, but also have a lot of weird bugs associated with them. Oh, and the Portagon is gone, nice. I never had that myself, actually. I never had that myself.
Yeah, so... That's how you fixed it and then it just sort of broke again.
Yeah, no... So what I did is, when you reload a save, if the Portagon is gone, it gives it back to you. But I guess that only happens before it's actually like breaking for some reason or something. So the thing is, if it's gone, if you reload a save or transition to the next map, then it's gonna be back again.
So it's this map though. It's like majority of the time it's this map.
Yeah,
that it goes.
It's never happened to me to myself on this map, but it did happen. Yeah, it's never happened to myself actually until now, which is fun. Well done, game. But yeah, it happened to other people on other maps as well. It happened to people on BTS Win 2.
Yeah, but the majority. I don't know why this map though specifically. Maybe it's just timing or something. But yeah, it's weird.
It's a weird bug with Viz that doesn't move your thing along the next map. Stupid.
Pay attention.
You know, I wasn't aware that the surface is in such a rough state.
Go the other area.
Didn't want to say it before, but this place is such a mess. This will take so long to clean up. Whoever did this was very thorough in their work.
Yeah, this area is quite interesting. This was almost cut, like a lot of other overgrown chambers. Yeah. This was originally an introduction to the blue gel, and this surface was on a wall up there. You would have to, and this would be all blue. You would have to jump up, and then you would have to like use this surface to bounce across. That was changed mainly because the puzzle was just a bit awkward, and it was almost cut as well until I noticed that a lot of players forget how to do basic flinging, which is funny. Yeah, that problem arose in double fling, where players just wouldn't realize that they can actually just fling themselves, because it's something that you don't do a lot in Portal 2 and Portal Revolution up until this point. Yeah, Portal Revolution in the early stages was meant that you wouldn't fling at all until Chapter 2, until Overgrown. That was changed. I kind of wish that we had an introduction like this in Chapter 1, but I'm also glad we put it back here because it's never really focused on Chapter 1, and Chapter 1 is already pretty dense and focused on introducing it to its elements, so I think it's fine. Chapter 1 shouldn't be that any longer anyway.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, and then this area was supposed to have a waterfall up here, Those effects just never looked good. I could never get them to work well, and
Sound
we all
effect
had
was really weird.
disagreements.
Yeah.
Sound effect, yeah. I later found a look that looked better, but it was just so close to the end of the project that we
Yeah,
said
which-
just no, let's just cut it, and so now we just have this little river that extends through here that Monty added.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still really like this area because it's so destroyed. And you've got this like river with the portal surfaces, and this is sort of the most sort of a reminder of the natural, more natural areas that we had before in Portal Revolution. Got a little decorations over here, nothing too crazy. Music was actually added like very late before release. Yeah, and the ceiling here was much taller before, because this was made before we had CSM.
Yeah, it's just cut all out.
Yeah, I just removed it all. So yeah, this is a pretty basic introduction to, like basic reintroduction to flinging, right? Where here you only use this as an entrance portal, so you just have to fling a bit. I'm sort of surprised how little players complain about how easy this one is. I mean, in general, I hear people say that either they think the entire mod is too hard, or too easy. That's fun. It's pretty rare.
Good luck, Collision.
That's just, yeah, I guess it's realistic. It's just
True.
weird. It doesn't happen very often in Source Engine.
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, I've seen it as well, but it's pretty RNG. So yeah, you just fling a bit in this first one. But yeah, I think the reason why this works is because this isn't just the only chamber, right? There are more chambers here. This is sort of one of those courses where you go through a lot of simpler tests.
Oh, I just realized. You don't even know how.
And Sterling talks about stuff.
Long ago, Aperture was run by a central core capable of monitoring and maintaining the whole facility. Certain tasks were outsourced to other cores, like me. Everything was great.
No, he goes on his
A true utopia. Until one human test subject, this little monster, just had to ruin our lives and killed her. And that's that. Most of my colleagues either went crazy, died, or disappeared. What else were we supposed to do if we can't fulfill our purpose?
Yeah, some more character building for Sterling. But I will talk about the design here. So this was actually placed before double fling as an introduction to basic flinging, because people just had trouble with it. I think at that... No. Yeah. And actually there, the floor here would be portable, so you would have to... Yeah, like fall down like this, and then we repurposed this, moved it much further in the game, and repurposed it to be an introduction for this fling.
see a redesign beforehand. It used to be like a lot different when I worked on it.
Yeah, this has changed a lot. You would actually enter it from here. Yeah, you originally like decorated this section here.
Yeah,
All of this was you. I then changed it up, added all of the stuff on this side, and then decorated the ceiling here a bit more, since it was now more open. It's completely repurposed test chamber. So now we actually we introduce this fling here. Since that's a pretty advanced move that players, if they had to do this in a larger context, would just rarely figure out. And I had a lot of problems with that. So we introduced it.
yeah.
And then we sort of built on it here, where you now have to do the same fling, and then in the fling place a portal. And this is something that I try to not design the puzzles to be too mechanically demanding. And this is the maximum that we do. And in this case, you know, we made sure that the portal faces the surface that you have to shoot on. So if you fall down, you just have to move down, and you have a lot of time to shoot. And if you don't get it, then there's no penalty. There's no like goo that you fall into or anything. Yeah, you also decorate this one, right? I really like
Yeah,
this one.
I just hit the whole wall and all this stuff.
Yeah, I like that we kind of mix Portal 1 style with the panels, the pistons here. Yeah.
Nice. Lighting was a bit weird though.
Lighting could
Change
have
that
been a
bit.
bit more open, but then
Yeah,
again we
definitely.
use this prop here, which is a lot of limiting.
Yeah, but
Well, I never
probably
noticed
could've
this-
got rid
this
of it, to be
bit,
honest. Oh yeah. All this stuff up here.
Yeah, it's a bit dark, but no, actually, I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
just said that I always assumed I would need more height for flinging than I actually did. More slabs on.
Yeah, some
Which makes
people
sense.
call us out for using a lot of catapults, and the thing is, for most flings, we don't use catapults. Like, all of these flings are fully pure physics, that there's no cheating going on here. Which is funny when people think they're smarter than us, and then in reality, they're the ones who are wrong. We don't use catapults for most of these areas.
No, I thought we do like for here. I'm pretty sure we use it.
I don't think we use them here.
I think we use them here. I think I
I
actually
mean,
have
you
it.
built this, so it's possible. But here,
I
here
think
doesn't
there is one
here doesn't even feel wrong to me.
I'm pretty sure I did add one here because I don't know why, but I sort of feel back and did
Okay,
it.
in this, I mean, here there's definitely nothing. In this, all from before, there's definitely nothing. It's all just
Yeah,
mechanical, pure flings. And I think there's nothing wrong with cheating flings for people if it makes them more
Promise to
consistent.
leave once we're done.
Yeah, it's all about consistency. We can't rely on the physics engine in this one.
Yeah,
Don't hesitate to come back.
especially because it can vary a lot depending on how you enter the portal. Right? If you enter it upside down, then you movement would be weird.
I'd rather say this before it's too late. Use the gels sparingly. The tanks aren't being refilled anymore, and what's left won't last forever. Once they're empty, we're gonna have a little problem. The gels are also highly corrosive and will eat through metal and skin given enough time. Might be good to know.
Alright, I want to just continue talking about the characterization of Sterling, where Sterling is basically not, like, we don't really explain what his goals are and what your goals are in Act 1. Act 1 is pretty much just like introduction. I know from a story perspective that Act 1 is way too long. I think from gameplay it works fine. I think from gameplay it works really, really well. But yeah, now we'll explore Sterling a bit, and we also give a reason as to why we have gels in here before we even give the player gels. And from what I've seen, the players have received this pretty well. Yeah, it makes sense. It's obviously just a cop out because for gameplay we just want to use the gels. But I think it's an explanation that isn't too far fetched, because obviously you have some sort of storage tanks for the gels somewhere in this large facility.
Yeah.
It just makes sense, even if you're just using the paints in the tube or whatever. Yeah, finally this area here, this little transition, which I think looks pretty cool. Did you add volumetrics to this?
Probably.
What? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Funny. I think it's no. Actually, I think that's just the instance
What is it?
which has a spotlight on it.
Oh yeah, true.
Okay,
Kinda felt different.
that's fine then. Yeah, so this would actually connect the previous, the first chamber from the previous map, to another chamber that I forget.
I
So,
can't remember.
I don't know honestly, but yeah, that chapter 2 or the Act 2 stuff moved around a lot. This was reshuffled so many times. We changed the map order constantly.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I think this is a cool area. So yeah, this is also a really old map that we repurposed.
Oh yeah.
Or rather, we
this
didn't
looks
really repurpose it, we just didn't cut
Updated
it.
it.
Yeah, updated the lighting.
Yeah.
I think it's one of my favorite areas. Or rather, favorite, like, overgrown visuals. because it has the nice foreground, middle ground, and background, which gives a lot of parallax.
Separated by the glass, yeah, it's very nice.
And the glass catches the lighting nicely. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm glad we kept this. One of my favorite layouts.
Yeah, I think it's because when me and Ace were going through all the beta stuff, just like, hey, we could use this.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was a point where Act 2 actually had a lot of chambers that were all focused on this gel stuff. That was before we had P2C, and once we got P2C, or once we got source code access, we basically cut the entirety of that chapter, of that act. Yeah. Some chambers were repurposed like this, or reused, but a lot of them were remade from absolute scratch. And I'm not even too like sad about it, because I was never happy with these chambers. This was one of my favorite chambers from that era, so yeah, that's why I'm happy to include it again. Because I feel like the geometry is very Portal 2-esque. Where you feel like you can only navigate using portals, right? It's, I don't know, just the way that you fling from here and have the glass separate, and then you fling again, and then you land on the surface and you have to bounce over again. That was pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so now you have to fling over, and then you land on here. You can't go further. You have to paint the surface here. It's not much of a puzzle, because honestly making puzzles with shell is kind of difficult, because it's always permanent progress.
Sure.
But yeah, this basically serves as a reintroduction to the blue gel. We don't have to do this, because obviously we expect players to have played Portal 2. But also our target audience was players that haven't played Portal in a long time. So we just reintroduce the elements, and then remind them, hey, blue gel is the bouncy one, you know?
Yeah.
Then you have to do the whole thing again here. It's also a little Easter egg in here. I'll just clip up there, which is just an old version of the transition script that we have. I also thought about adding some other thing you can walk through here, add an Easter area back here, but never did that.
Yeah, no.
Just didn't know what to put back there. Yeah, I got the cube. In the original version, this was actually much closer. Like, this wall would be flush with this wall here. And this and the paint would be a paint stream, not a paint bomb. So as a consequence, the thing about it is that the paint would hit the ceiling, because this was a solid ceiling here, would hit the ceiling and then not paint the floor here. So then I added like a weird other surface that would move in and out, so you could pinpoint that, and it was horrible. It was stupid.
Yeah.
I'm much happy with how it is now. But yeah, those sort of changes. That's the thing about doing overgrown chambers, is once you start decorating, the chamber becomes really rigid and hard to change. Since if you want to move stuff around, you have to move all the decorations. Yeah, one of the most annoying things for me was the decoration. Not big. I mean, I love decorating areas. It's just I also like making gameplay, and decorations just go against like the ability to change the gameplay. And it takes a lot of time. So you either have to save the decorations for the very end, which is also not great, or you have to constantly change everything. And I like when the decorations accompany the gameplay. People sometimes see them as separate things, but I think they're interconnected. They're not separate. They're the same thing basically. Because the art of a chamber teaches you, right? Like, this isn't just art. This teaches you. This is a gameplay element as well. all of the antlines and stuff, also gameplay.
Oh, is that missing antline? Oh no, it's going.
No, it is going down there, because if you stand up here,
Yeah.
players wouldn't connect that these were connected here in the head.
Right.
We could have just made connected up there.
Yeah.
But then if you stand here, this wouldn't connect, so that's why this is like that. Antlines are always a bit awkward to connect. Ideally, we should have just moved like this glass further back here, and then this could just connect straight. That would have been the best
Probably.
solution for that. Yeah. Anything else to say about this? I don't know.
Don't think so, no. Throw it over.
But yeah, I still quite like this, which is why it's the loading screen background.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Watching you fly
Yeah.
through the air like that looks pretty fun.
Well, I actually changed my
Sometimes
green
I wish
fog
I could
out
do
to
the
a blue
same.
one at some point.
You changed it to a green fox, which just makes no sense.
I wanted to try and make it look earthly, and then it's...
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Yeah, no.
No. Yeah, for later in the project's development, I went through and replaced a lot of these elevators with custom destroyed versions, because there are instances that we use, but we didn't want the same destruction pattern for every chamber. You know, it doesn't make sense. Most players won't notice it, but whenever I went to work on a map and fix something, like in here, I probably had to like change something, whatever. Then I also thought, you know what, let's take half an hour to also make a custom destroyed elevator, so we have the dropped off thing here, which even has a cable still connected, little details like that. And I've been so sick of decorating this, because I just did way too many. With our 40 maps, yeah, it's a lot of repetition in the mapping. Yeah, that's the background map. This one is one of my favorite, because you have the dynamic lights on here, which I think is so nice.
Yeah.
That's so
It's
cool.
really good.
Yeah.
These tests were never designed to be exposed to the surface. We've not come across any toxic plants yet, but stay alert.
Pretty sure a
There's a
custom
reason
line
we
made
don't
somewhere
do
in the game file
experiments in
still.
the open anymore.
Oh, what?
It's flooded. There's an elevator instance that's like flooded.
Oh yeah, yours. I tried
No.
to add it into one of the
It was-
maps, but
it
it was so
yeah.
broken. The instance, I just couldn't get it. One of my favorite areas. I mean, I'll say a lot of stuff, but yeah, I think our decorations. It's definitely pretty mod. I think
would
we
say
did well
so.
in decorations.
I think my favorite area is A2M, but yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of cool areas, but there are so many like. Their test chambers are just solid, you know. They may not stand out against like our greatest vistas, but this is still really cool. I always love it when the overgrown areas are a bit like dark where you stand, and then lighter further you are. It just looks cinematic.
Totally.
So yeah, this is introduction of the showers, also called the paint fizzler.
Yeah.
It's a long story with these. So yeah, originally these were orange fizzler variants, like orange emancipation grills.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it because orange, like, you know, the orange blue color scheme works well. And a lot. So about custom fizzlers, I never liked custom fizzlers because you have they mainly feel like a cop out or like a
Really
oh,
uninspired
there is this exploit in this chamber, so now I have to make a fizzler that does everything a normal fizzler does, but it doesn't. But it does allow you to shoot through it. Solve the problem.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, just use a grate, right? Most of these custom fizzlers can just be replaced with a different surface type.
Yeah.
The paint fizzler, though, it used to block your portals, fizzle the portals as you move through, and the only difference was that it would also block paint, because I was surprised to find out that in Portal 2, the normal fizzler doesn't fizzle paint that travels through it. I was very surprised because I designed chambers around it, and then suddenly, what? That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I then I made that. Yeah. Playtesters weren't too happy, and it was also difficult to tell the player what it did, which is why we designed this chamber next to it.
Yeah.
To introduce you to that stuff. But yeah, then with a playtest with Anna, the creator of, or a redeveloper of Pulsar's Mel, yeah, we seriously started reconsidering the art of this, so we changed up to be a shower, to be like a water fountain, which is just so much more intuitive that it doesn't let paint through. However, one change I wasn't happy about is it let the portals through, and it didn't fizzle your portals as well.
Yeah, that changed nothing about the puzzles pretty much.
Yeah, it didn't change anything about puzzles, which is nice. It changed something about the next puzzle,
Oh,
but
yeah,
luckily the fix was really simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, I then added this area, this puzzle here, which started out really rough. I probably have a screenshot for it. It's always fun to look back, because in my mind this is already so old, but this is a pretty new chamber.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty new also means like probably 1 year or something. It's insane how long this stuff takes. Okay. Yeah, so this is how the portal fizzle looked. It was. I mean, it looks a bit more brown than I thought it would.
Very
But
bad.
yeah, that was the paint fizzler. That was the art for it.
And it just, yeah. It ain't good.
I definitely took a screenshot. I remember taking one. Oh god, we're gonna talk about this one later. I should
Oh no, what is
save that for later. See to end.
Are we gonna include a bunch of really old beta photos in like the SDK?
No, not SDK. That makes no sense.
I mean, just a little, you know.
No, it has to. Yes, everyone who wants to map it just has to download 20 gigabytes of screenshots from.
Oh, it's not that big.
It makes no sense to add it to the SDK. We can release it elsewhere.
Fine.
The SDK makes no sense.
Well, you know, it's a little...
No, it makes no sense. These are tools, not a photo album. It's like oh, you download the SDK now. You have the soundtrack. Or something.
Fine, like an extra photo album DLC.
The bigger photo album is you can just post on a website.
Yeah, no one looks at websites.
Well, that's their problem. I can't find it, but yeah, basically this area didn't have turrets at first, and you would just... What was the gap again? I think you would...
What's that again?
Yeah, you would have to just place the paint down here. And yeah, the way I'm introducing this is you have to use this to take it through. And then originally you would have to just paint the floor, and then you could jump on the ledge up here.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was way too short for me, so I added this fling. So now you would have to take it through two ways. I'm never really a fan of these control panels because it doesn't feel portal-y. I'd rather have the players move around and shoot portals, but just couldn't avoid it this time. So yeah, now you have to paint this, and then you could jump over. And then, you know, let's just add fun. I called it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we just added the turrets just for it doesn't give you any gameplay reason, right? There's no gameplay that's being added. You just do the same thing again. But it just makes it a bit more fun and less like stale, I guess. Just adding a few turrets that you have to destroy. It's something I rarely see in maps and mods. For Portal 2 specifically.
What, destroying turrets?
Turrets are often just seen as combat, and not really for like puzzles. But Portal 2 uses them a lot as just like a goal.
Obstacles, yeah.
Yeah, as obstacle. Like in, you could have just replaced these turrets with a laser catcher instead of burning them, right? Yeah, well, sure, but you know, it's a bit more fun than just putting it into a catcher.
Yeah.
There's so much logic associated to this fling here because I want the player to, so the game saves if you stand up here and place a portal there. So if you fling, you don't and die because the turret is also there.
Out. Unless you fling as you shoot the portal on there, then you sort of.
I mean, there's a trigger, that checks if you're standing up there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, this chamber was mapped in a decorated in a live stream.
Congratulations on completing this test. We hope you enjoyed your experience at the
Aperture Science Center for... Who writes these protocols?
This is where the DSP is a bit
randomly
messed up.
generated? Oh, of course you enjoyed it.
No
You
effects
designed
on
the
the
test that way. There's a reason I don't use those scripts. I could barely get through them when I first tested you. Remember that? What did you think of my announcement voice, by the way? I've been practicing it.
Yeah, this was decorated in a live stream, so if anyone's interested, you can watch the live stream. At least most of it was decorated in that. This stuff came later.
I added a few bits as well. Like
this chamber didn't went through a lot of changes, but this was a pretty easy change. This was actually just a normal Q button, just a normal button, I mean. So yeah, the problem was that now players might put the because originally this had the paint fizzler, right? So you couldn't shoot through that. So the introduction was you have to put the portal there. What was the puzzle again, actually?
I think it was like put the on the button and then come inside here.
Right, yeah. You would put this here. Yeah, and then you would go through and now place the port, and now it would be painted. And then we changed it so you can actually shoot through it. And I specifically designed this to teach the player, hey, you can't shoot through this, right? You have to go through to shoot. Like this whole area was designed to show the player that. Then we removed the mechanic, and now you could cheese it by
standing on the button and just letting the cube through.
Yeah.
And then we just made it a cube button. That fixed the whole problem.
Exactly.
We brainstormed for like half an hour.
Then you could just do this here, stand on that, and then put it through. And then we panicked a bit, and luckily, a lot of cases we think about very complicated solutions to things. But a lot of times they're actually really simple solutions to these problems. Like here, it's just replacing it with a cube button. Suddenly, all fixed. I always like those solutions, which are like really
it's the gel
elegant.
fix? Is the gel render bug fixed?
Gel render bug?
Well, when you get painted with gel, it goes all like... Unless you just
yeah, it's a hack fix though.
Oh, okay.
It's just if it only renders the volumetrics if there is volumetrics in a map. And funnily enough, in all maps where we have volumetrics, there's no paint.
Brilliant.
It's just hilarious, yeah.
Of course.
Just, that's fixed, that's temporary fix, but right, just to
Not give you a headache.
stop people complaining, Yeah, this is again one of those little things I like to add in gameplay where you have to sort of wind your way through the level, and you come out on top, because this could have just been a door. No, it couldn't be. Yeah, the platform is there, so you have to stand on it, right? But this could have just been a door right here, right?
Yeah.
But I prefer to sort of extend it a bit and add this platform. And the nice thing about this is it gives the player, like it gives us the ability to sort of hang stuff from there and to make this whole
composition feels a lot like you have that, the foreground, middle ground, background.
Exactly.
Yeah. Same thing again. Composition's very important.
A lot of subtle things that really help in decoration.
Yeah. And it also helps block the view as well, so you're not seeing everything all at once. It's not overwhelming.
Yeah. And then the player, when they're up here, they have to kind of sort of look down at where they have been.
Yeah.
You can't fall through here. I thought about it, but I thought that it would be more annoying to players than...
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But I liked it. I thought about extending the puzzle, so now you're up here, you can like access this portal and stuff like that, but I thought, nah, this puzzle should just focus on that one mechanic. I always try to have the puzzles focus on one core idea. Right, in the previous one, it's transporting the gel through the changing for toggleable showers, and here it's using interacting it with cubes and stuff, like using the shower to interact with cubes and sliding the cubes and stuff like that.
Wouldn't it be great to take a break from all the testing, just to have a nice, long, warm shower under the cleansing fields, washing your hair, watching your skin.
Oh, that's a bad
peel
cube
off.
map. Holy crap!
Yes, you
What?
heard me right. Don't try
Oh yeah, I think
That's
that's
horrible.
my fault.
cleanses more than gel.
because they always the models share materials between others. So the laser like catcher and stuff, they use that glass texture for the covering. They also use it for the lift, and it's just so annoying. Just
That makes sense.
it's the same with I had with the button base and the cube. They use the same normal map because they're blank. It's like, why would you
Yeah.
do that? It's so annoying.
I guess it
Oh, yeah.
says VRAM.
Yeah, it just says.
But
default.
it's just a mislabeled texture, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If it's called metal box and then it's used by fizzlers, that's not
annoying.
right.
There is a blank but normal map, but they just don't use it. It's really weird.
The little broken door. Again, to re-emphasize that
Broken? Maybe I can reroute
It's
you.
broken.
the average presenter is falling apart. Right.
Yeah.
Ah, look at that.
It just have to be
These things still
rerouted.
work. There aren't many working ARM panels left here. I'd love to help you solve the puzzles.
This one's been around for a long time.
Hundreds of people solving.
Not for that long. That's been
I don't know.
much
I
older.
it's been
Still don't get it.
Yeah, of course. This was a
Listen, you don't
CSM
mind?
tech demo, basically.
All about the simple things.
it was around that time. Okay.
Yeah, you would actually enter it through here,
Yeah.
bomb, and then blast. And I thought the thing is that players had problems. Players just didn't find the button.
Yeah.
They just completely ignored this whole area here.
This
So
makes
it's-
you walk through the whole thing now, like a more linear path.
Yeah, so we changed it
That's
to
how you
come out from
branch.
here. And I also much prefer the reveal here, how you're sort of starting in this darker area,
Yeah.
and then you're entering here, and you're getting this slower reveal.
Yeah, it's more
Getting
obscured, so you're
stuck
not seeing
by
everything all at once.
panels. Yeah, and you're having slow reveal like this, which I think is nicer than just coming out, boom, and now I've got everything. This sort
Yeah.
of builds up the anticipation of, oh, this is gonna be a big boy, but this is still blocked. And then
It's the same, yeah,
you
it's
turn
not-
in the corner, and now you've got this big reveal here.
Similar with
Larger.
A2 end with you
Yeah,
round the
yeah.
corner and you don't see everything, and as soon as you get closer and closer it's more revealed.
Yeah, nice
more-
composition and blocking
Yeah.
the player's view to reveal
Don't-
one thing after the other.
Don't show all your cards at once. It's
Yeah.
a trick.
And also to, gameplay wise, it helped to tell the player, hey, this is an area that
Yeah.
exists, and this is what you can do. And players seem to, I mean, some walk out right away, others they press the button first. Yeah,
Well, they
I
know
think
this room exists at least. So
they know it exists, it's in their mind. They don't really see the door immediately. I think that's fine. Some mappers say things like, the second you exit the door, you have to immediately see the exit. No, you don't. But obviously, it's good if you can see it a lot of the time. And
yeah, it should be obscured, hidden away behind a corner.
yeah. But I mean, even if this was like even if there was like a hallway, like around the corner and then there's the door, this would probably still feel like a destination area, right? Right? The puzzle feels intuitive because you have the ramp, so it feels important. But a lot of times the puzzle is just like the solution is just intuitive to the player, based on the geometry of the level. Like here, everything aligns with this ramp, so it's pretty obvious that it's important.
Definitely.
But yeah, this is a nice area. This was basically a tech demo for the shadow maps, for the Cascade shadow maps.
Yeah, we go for an area, very nice. Is this the biggest open sky we have? Apart from, yeah, it must be, because it's...
Yeah, I think so.
I would say so.
Yeah, changes that have happened since the video is basically like this whole gap was closed off since they didn't really serve a gameplay purpose. That there was a gap here was just annoying that you have to constantly portal back and forth.
We made it less. Yeah.
So now there's just a grate here. Also, the bottom floor here is now like there's a floor here instead of just goo. So if you fail the jump, it isn't as punishing.
Yeah.
Decorating large areas like these in Ogre is always really tough. So I added a lot of like cutouts and like this little goo pit is still there. To sort of add variation to it.
Yeah.
Also, the shadows help a lot.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I really like this chamber still for its decoration, even though it's pretty old now. It's still one of my favorites. I don't know, I can see that for everything.
Yeah. Everything is your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just pretty proud of our decorations. I think we did well with level design and visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this uses the mechanic of like buffering up paint speed in the mono portal here. So you're basically saving.
I've never really seen like that before, because I guess you haven't really seen many more mono portal puzzles, but.
I mean, you could also do this with both portals, but basically just like storing up the momentum in another portal, rather than placing blue there and orange there. Just adds a bit more complexity, and this is best done with mono portals because you can't move it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in this jump, we again align the players perfectly to see the surface, so it's simple, so it's easy to jump.
Yeah.
Fun little things like this broken ant line, and there's also a hole in the wall here that you can look through, and you can even use this for this to solve the puzzle. You don't have to, it's just a second like solution, and I think that again re-emphasizes that the environments are broken and there are multiple ways to solve them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because originally you had to put the box like next to the portal here, when there was still no floor here, so you had to use portals to go back and forth here like this.
It's very messy.
Yeah, and then you would have to go in here. I like making that, like it feels so fun. And then you could get the box like this. Then we added the floor here, so now this box could be anywhere. It could be here, and you could still just walk the whole distance, which I think it didn't add anything to the puzzle really. It just made it a bit more annoying in total. And then you have this third solution where you just
Leave it.
Pop a portal through here, walk down, and then you can solve it like that. Since this is the focus of the puzzle, right? So it shouldn't be annoying.
Yeah, no.
Focus is that the shower blocks the paint, so you have to disable it so you can paint the ramp up here. And I always like making, like flinging paint along a long distance. I think that's really cool. It's really satisfying. My favorite style. Someone asked what my favorite style is.
Favorite style.
In the mod. I have no idea. Like visual style for test chambers.
God, can't remember most of our styles to be honest. I like the style we got in what's its face? The ball with the button. It's like it bounces. What's it called again?
Really destroyed,
TV
I
flags.
like the most.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. It just like minimalist. It's very pleasing. I guess A to End also is my favorite, but those two are like tied, I think. Even if one's less complex than the other, it's just very visually sort of pleasing to look at.
Yeah. For me, it's really hard because I really like all of our styles. I think every style is very unique on its and can stand on its own legs. But then also, we don't only have 4 styles, right? We have so many different variations on stuff. Like, not even the overgrown. Every overgrown chamber is completely different. Like this one has much more sky access, has these big rocks, whereas the previous one was much smaller and felt a bit more humid and sort of like, you know, smaller. It's
Totally.
I've been cleaning the facility since.
I love how the glass on the vac tube actually steps down the exposure as well.
I think you've seen all the ways one could injure themselves. Some moron will make sure to prove you wrong.
yeah, some more character building for Sterling, how he's been working here for a long time and is maybe a bit tired of his job, right? He's always seen everything. To sort of re-emphasize his janitor job. This area is also fun. This is definitely my favorite elevator.
Maybe you wanted to add a vine to that spinning blade.
Yeah, that's one of those things that it's one of those that's always cool to add.
That's pretty good.
But you have to balance your own time as well, and you can't spend. If you can't spend forever on a mod, we already did spend a lot of time. So at some point you just have to say no. It's not worth it. There's other more important things to focus on. But I still don't know why it wouldn't export. Yeah. There is this little vent in here.
Special vent.
And I find it so fun how players who don't get the reference are just so creeped out by this.
I'm sure the majority of the people, I guess, because people ask, they don't know, but yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. The creepy sound that I added.
Yeah, I don't want. Why'd you add? It freaks me out.
And that was just because that was in in some soundscape in Portal 2 that I used for one of the chambers in Act 1. And it is it has an origin, so it always comes from some location. And that sound was placed, like that origin was by accident exactly where you would place a portal. So when you came out of the portal, you just have this creepy sound really loud in your ears. And I thought that was funny, so I then repurposed it for here. This is
cool.
This is the room temperature room from Community, the TV show.
Yeah.
Where Troy Barnes, is invited into the room, into the air conditioning repair school. It's not a cult, I swear. And it's like a destroyed, sort of moldy, mossy version of this.
Yeah, it would be cool to add the study room as well in the door, maybe.
Yeah, I even mapped that, but I didn't know where to put it.
You should have put it out in the window, to be honest. You should have looked through it.
Yeah.
In the window.
Again, it's all of those things that we can do. It's just an end. We kind of ran out of time to add a lot of stuff that we wanted to.
Yeah, it was definitely this is the last minute stuff.
Yeah, one of the. At some point, I said somewhere online, we just ran out of time, or we don't have time for everything. We don't have infinite time. And someone said, technically you do. You're a community modder. I'm like,
bro, I got a life. I don't want to do this for
we've got other stuff to do as well, right? And we've already spent so much time of our life working on this that yes, you can work on something forever, but more important is to get it out, to finish it, to release it.
And that's how mods don't release, because they don't have a goal or set deadlines for themselves, and it just there's no end in sight, and so people just sort of lose interest.
Yeah, project management is really difficult, and for community mods, it's like deadlines apply to the community mods the same that they do to companies. Just because we don't have, just because we don't run out of money or have someone
A budget, yeah.
someone kick our ass to release this now, it doesn't mean that we don't have deadlines on our own, right? Because I worked on this during, like, I started working on this before I went. It's always difficult to describe our school system, but basically
College.
Yeah, basically college. I started working on this before college, and then was still working on it after college, which takes 5 years. Then I worked on it through civil service, which is mandatory for people in Austria, either civil or military service. And then I was still working on it basically 1 year after that, before like getting any sort of job. Like, I spent so much and sacrificed so much of my life on this mod. Yeah, to then see people say things like, you definitely have infinite time, just work on it more. Yeah, it just shows that. I mean, I don't know why I talk about this in dev commentary, but it's something that players often don't think about, that the devs are also people who have other stuff going on in their life. And it's definitely give me a lot of sympathy for other developers, for other games. Whenever there's something that they do that we don't like, or things take long. It gave me a lot of sympathy for that, knowing how all of the struggles that goes through it, that they have to go through to get something like this done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another Easter egg in here. I can't remember there's more in this room.
There's anything, no.
Yeah.
But it creeps people out, and I like that.
Realest thing ever. Didn't you just spend 8 years on this mod? Sounds exhausting. Yeah, it was. Well, for Stefano, yeah, it was exhausting.
Yeah, exactly.
The 3 years I worked on it was all exhausting. I can't imagine spending 8 years. My
there
God.
are so many
Looks like you're
things.
about to get an upgrade to your portal device. About time. This should make it much easier to navigate through this mess.
Oh yeah, he actually used to say maybe it will also make you solve the tests quicker.
I kind of like that line.
Yeah. There was a. I'll talk about it in a second, but yeah. I spent 8. Yeah, at some point you just want to be done with a mod, and while I still liked modding towards the end, I wanted to actually sort of talk about our struggles of how we felt coming up to the mod's release. What our stress was, what all of that stuff. But yeah, it's like later towards in the later stages of development, I actually became pretty tired of working on this mod. Not because I don't like the mod anymore. Like I was actually more excited than ever to work on the mod, because now it was the most promising thing. This mod has been pretty unoriginal for a long time, and these ideas just piled up on top of each other, and it eventually became really cool. But if you work on something for that long, you just want to do something else for once.
Yeah.
People don't know how much work it takes to make a mod tell you. Yeah, the thing is that. Yeah. Also, this is the biggest mod that's ever been made for Portal 2. In every aspect. While also being a pretty small team. Even Portal 3's Mel's team was bigger than ours.
How many people did they have? They had I can't remember how many people they had.
I don't know, but they had more than 4.
More than 4.
One thing that we really lacked was a 2D artist.
My God.
Because a lot of that work fell onto me, and I'm not really I don't have much experience in it.
Yeah.
So even though I was able to make a lot of posters and stuff like that, they're obviously not as high quality as the amazing custom posters in Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and then when it came to like concept art and 3D modeling, I had to basically design everything because we didn't have a concept artist, which was fun, but also very stressful. But yeah, it would have been probably nicer to have someone that could.
I wouldn't really talk about the music because Jared isn't here.
Yeah, no, that's his specialty.
Yeah, because I basically had no say in the music. I mean, except for saying, like, all I did was say, hey, this is a map, this is the vibe, this is sort of where it is in the story. Took a bunch of screenshots and then sent it to him, and then I gave a bit of feedback, like, oh, I don't quite like this one sound, maybe it could go more to this direction, it just feels a bit out of place, and then he changed it. But most of the time, I just added it as it was because it was perfect. I really like Jared's style. He manages to mix together so many different influences. Like, it sounds like Half-Life, it sounds like Portal, it sounds like Portal 2, but still has its own original taste.
Yeah.
And
it's very nice. It
isn't as like flashy as Mel's, for example.
Synthy as well.
Mel's is very melodic and like upbeat. Ours is a different vibe.
Almost blends into the background in some cases as well with ambience.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
So which is why a lot of people don't even notice that we have a soundtrack. Yeah, but I really like it. Yeah, this here with the bird.
Yes, the bird.
Yeah, talking about Sterling, he changed a lot actually. And one of the things was that Sterling used to be a lot more antagonistic towards the player. Yeah, he used to be pretty annoyed at the player for breaking stuff, and and especially in here later, and players, and that we did that because we wanted to sort of. Sterling was never meant to be the hero of the story or like your friend, right? Because he later goes against you. But players were just sick of hearing him. They hated him. So we changed him to be a bit more likable, but still untrustworthy. And I think we managed to strike that balance pretty well, where he's just a bit annoying still, right? Just the voice and everything. But I think that adds to his character, especially once you learn that he's a vacuum cleaner. I've just imagined this little guy screaming at you. That's just so funny to me. Yeah. This puzzle, the visual style here was inspired by Portal Pro and Factum Solos. There's a chamber in Portal Pro where you have to sort of, where I don't know if it's supposed to be GLaDOS in that, where the AI like can't open a door, and so they have to drain the water so you can go underneath. I found it was so fun. So
yeah,
this is very reminiscent of that. Also inspired by Portal, by Factum Solos, which also has a similar area where you have to walk underneath, or like on the same level as the goo. This water doesn't kill you, and it took some tweaking to make it look like it doesn't kill you. Really tough design thing.
This is the one and only time I ever made a flow map.
Flow map, yeah.
And I absolutely hated doing it, and it was the worst thing ever because Source just wouldn't cooperate. It wouldn't line up, and never again.
I still don't know really how it works. I got it to line up, but
it is just luck. I feel like most of the time.
That was stupid, yeah.
But it was good, so paid off. And also Ace went around and just manually added decals to all the sides at the water level. And that was
that was insane.
Ridiculous. I had to do it twice as well because
it's never been the same ever since.
Yeah, never been the same.
Shit, that experience changes a person. Nah, obviously just joking. But yeah, I talk a bit about the design of this because this was meant to be like, this weird blocks and stuff. with some crap in there, but navigating this, I still wanted it to be navigatable. So, for example, there's this like little roundabout in here. You can always walk in this circle here. So if you want to get from one place to the other, you can just take this path. And then to go up here, there are many paths that you can take. Originally, there was just this. You had to go the long route, and this was changed even further to like add some little steps and little things to help the player.
Yeah.
You can also now go up here, which is nice to add like a more direct route, and you can also jump up like that. I think it might be a bit harder.
Possibly. Very crouch jump.
I think it's possible.
You crouch jump, I think.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. I thought this was easier maybe before. But
I changed this area, but
okay. I mean, this was never really meant to be like a main path. It's always meant to be here. But yeah, those small little things, and also this was blocked off before, so you would have to jump up here. So, but then we just lowered this so you can walk straight through, just to improve the gameplay a bit. A lot of small things here. But yeah, I quite like this. I like that we have a few like very unique sort of environments like this, which you don't really see too often. Makes every chamber feel very unique, I guess. And yeah, the bird you added.
Oh yeah, I added this bird because the destruction, the portal gun didn't really make much. Oh, animation, I made that. Simple spline. Yeah, it was the destruction gun didn't really make sense much. It was very localized in one space. So I thought I'll just add a bird pecking on it, and that'll be the justification for this big like hole in the side.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, you did a really good job on this model. This took a lot of iteration.
Yeah, I did. I went through a lot of like sculpts and design. It was very noisy at the start. Like it had a massive like chunk going through the whole thing, and I just refined it down to just more very surface level, and having this like interesting hexagon pattern, like structural thing. But yeah, it was quite fun to make.
Yeah, one of the difficulties of this was to get it look right in all lighting environments.
Oh god, yeah, no.
Like here, you can now see all of the texture detail really nice. Where
it looks really nice. It like
cracks.
it looks really nice with the metal in sunlight, and also looks really nice with artificial lighting, because the texture just on the white looks really nice.
Yeah,
and the fog
it also looks good even here.
As well.
Even in dark areas, it still looks nice because
you can see that,
because the texture is so rich. Yeah.
And I think the technique I use is to add a baked lighting filter in Substance Painter. So you bake the lighting, so you get all the bump and stuff in the texture.
Yeah,
and
that helped a lot, I think.
It's very important for Source because you just don't get all the fancy rendering and all that stuff. And keep trying to emulate that effect of energy preservation. It's very difficult. So yeah. Yeah,
and also the custom dirty version of this, which was made by November, I think.
Oh yeah.
Small things that we just forget about often. Yeah.
It was this I also had the claw as well. Getting that to work was quite a pain.
Yeah, the claw is so cool that it like lags behind. Yeah, this the introduction of the full portal gun happens really late in Revolution, which I like that we managed to do so many puzzles with just a mono portal gun.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is basically the end of chapter 3. It felt nice to end it there. A lot of these things, you never think about, or rather they feel obvious later. But just knowing where to start and end chapters isn't the most straightforward thing either.
No.
We changed that actually a lot.
Because not all maps are the same. You know, they have different lengths and stuff. So it's just like trying to make everything feel cohesive. Pretty sure each chapter is like an hour.
Yeah, that was pretty much the design goal, to have a chapter be an hour of gameplay, and also we have, because we think about them more in terms of acts, where we have 4 acts. So this is Act 2.
Yeah.
And now each act is 2 chapters. It could have also just been 4 chapters, but then each chapter would have been really long. So it felt nice to break it up a bit.
Definitely.
And I think we managed to strike the balance pretty nicely, where this is pretty much exactly in the middle of Act 2. Yeah, and then you have to do this. I wanted to change this up because it was pretty janky, but actually it seems to work pretty nicely now.
People got a bit confused with it because they sort of jumped down
Yeah,
and then they realized they can't do it from there. I wanted to change
also,
that, to be
also
honest.
because people thought that they would have to portal onto that surface from here.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's when we
got a lot
added
of
it.
people.
That's when we added the glass, and then people realized, oh, this is not how you do it.
But I felt people it
think you
created a lot of
cancelled it.
frustration. I think I tried to actually like make it so you could see it from here.
Yeah,
But,
it is my favorite. I actually tried to redesign this a bit to actually make sense as a non-destroy chamber as well. Wasn't really necessary. Nobody really complained about it, but
yeah.
I think this works. Yeah, after the glass was added, I didn't really have too many problems. People didn't seem to have many problems, so this works.
Yeah.
I think we also just increased the jump height here. This was a bit lower before, maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah. Also, that I liked the really tall trees that you added here.
Yeah. Just to help obscure
That's
some of
really
this.
cool.
I always didn't like how the clouds were really overexposed and you can't really do much about it.
Yeah, it's just how the skybox is.
But yeah. There's nothing good about it.
And also because we have to expose for the darker test chambers,
Yeah.
the clouds will just be overexposed a bit. So yeah, this elevator which collapses is pretty nice. That was again added to sort of show that the facility is falling apart and it's breaking and you have to find a different path. To sort of make the struggle towards the spire
I can't see you from
a
here.
bit more of a struggle.
Hearing some
You've got to have some setbacks, you know.
unfavorable
Nothing can
noises.
go perfect.
Are you
Because
okay
otherwise it
down
would
there?
feel a bit
Yeah.
too easy. Also an excuse to put you back in test chamber.
Yeah, so this breaks and the tube
Try to find a test
breaks and stuff like
chamber.
that.
I can't see you there.
Would have been cool maybe to have like the elevator to go up and then like fall down. So I did that on one of my maps, it was good fun. But maybe yeah. I think it works fine.
Yeah, I didn't want to make an elevator crash. I think this is nice how it is.
That's fair.
Unfavorable noises, yeah.
I'm using for it, yeah.
Because English is not my native language, I sometimes write the dialogue to be a bit too sort of straightforward. I don't know all of the little like, you know,
Yeah,
phrases. So I
Colloquial phrases, yeah.
and then I try to add them to like describe things in a more fun way. Like I'm hearing some whatever, like I'm hearing stuff break down there or whatever, you know. You would normally
yeah.
say like is like. I think that's a bit too straightforward, so I thought, you know,
Definitely.
unfavorable noises is a bit funnier.
Yeah. It's just also the phrasing in a way, yeah. Will sort of voice.
Yeah.
It helps.
Will always delivers it really nicely. This is also a really cool area. This is, I definitely really like the style as well.
This is the style I like. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Unusual ways are more memorable, which is how a lot of design decisions in this mod are that way, to try to make it unique first and foremost, rather than the safe option, right? Like our characters, they definitely. I try to make Sterling unique, like as unique as possible with everything, with his voice, with his character, with his role in Aperture, which, yeah, is just better than he's just another generic core that tries to help you, which we have seen a lot of times before. This is fun. This is a fun area where everyone, a lot of players, they just went here and just stared at the lighting here for some reason.
Yeah.
Because we have some nice SS bump on there. I still really
Definitely.
like it. Yeah, it's a cool area. I definitely went nuts with the vac tubes here. Like a vac tube here that sort of tilted. I always like it when they sort of
Yeah.
go a bit in your way.
Demon
like the sort of-
approves of these vac tubes. He was
like the
message-
sort of like the sort of, you know,
Yeah, keep them
creeping
off angle and-
into your space, like you're If this is a bit more tilted, then it's sort of, well, this is my catwalk here, go away. Another one, oh, this is the same one. Another one here that actually goes into the chamber, which I always find fun. Then another one that snakes around here, and later you can see it from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
In very early versions of Revolutions, these like intermediate catwalk areas were big chunks of the map where you would just walk from A to B without anything happening. And in the later versions I tried to reduce it, and here it's just like walking up. And you can also notice, look in here, see the test chamber before you enter it. You can place portals.
Yeah.
Which is also nice because some players go in here.
There you are. Wait, how did you get there?
No, it didn't. Yeah, sort of
Well,
stuck
that
on this for
throws
like
us
a
off course
few,
bit.
good few minutes.
Catastrophic, but that wasn't planned.
This list just keeps getting longer and longer.
He used to actually blame you for breaking the the elevator before. When he was a bit, but yeah, people were really annoyed with him, so I just rewrote it to be a bit more about you breaking, like about him having to fix it again. Yeah, some players, they don't know what to do here, so we just add all of the hints, like the surface here.
We should probably make this big arrow, to be honest, on the other side.
No, most people figure this out. It's just, these hints, they do help. Then you have to drop here, so some players really
Even then, it
this.
still took some people up.
But other times players just go out down here and they place the portal there, and then they figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
I've not seen too many people have problems with this. But yeah, it is interesting how a simple mechanical challenge like this just becomes a difficult puzzle for some people. But yeah, I basically just added this to sort of give the player a bit of like a to use the dual portal gun again, right? You have to portal in there, so you have to use the dual portal gun for that, and then you just have to do a few simple flings, so you get used to placing both portals again. And here you actually have to sort of, or you can at least alternate the portals a lot, to get the players re-familiarized with the full portal gun. I really like how you have to exit the chamber here. Decorations are also really cool. I always love the spaces between test chambers. Those are my those are my opinion the most interesting sort of areas to decorate, because you've got a test chamber above, test chamber below. Now you've just got this awkward in between space where there's a lot of like pipes and more pipes. It isn't too much here because it's still supposed to be simple for the gameplay. If there's too much crap here, then it players collide with it and stuff.
Yeah, Demon said he really likes this area with the color scheme, with the orange and the brown, the black. So it just works really nicely.
The orange line back there, and
there's something about like warm and like dark color. Well, like those like black and gold get real together. It's sort of similar to that. I think when it with the color scheme. I think it fits the sort of grungy. There's no blues in these areas. It's very sort of, it keeps that. It's consistent with the style.
It matches the rust and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Doesn't feel out of place or like bits don't belong. It all feels very.
Yeah, this SS bump is so cool here. This is not how the texture works in Portal 2. We had a lot of weird rendering bugs with this grate here, which was frustrating for us.
Oh god, yeah.
Luckily it was fixed. Yeah. And then again, you just have to like just to sort of block the player a bit, so to make the player feel again like they're navigating in this space in ways that you couldn't do without a portal gun.
Yeah, the sort of.
Then here there's the big fling over, which was changed a lot as well. No, not a lot, but a bit.
I had a bit of.
It was moved back a bit. It was moved back, and this was originally just a flat wall, but players don't like doing that when they have a catwalk in front because they think that they get snagged on a catwalk.
Yeah.
So it was changed to a slope, and now this fling. And then again, reusing that surface in there, I think is really nice. Reusing a surface instead of just giving the player a new one like down there. Right? We could have just added another surface down here, where you have to fling to. But this little bit of backtracking just makes it a bit more interesting. And again, like you're
Reusing areas doesn't feel like it's purposefully built for your.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like you're navigating through it rather than following this
Predetermined
linear
path.
path
Yeah.
that is given to you. Like, oh, obviously this was placed for that. No, it's like, oh, I have to surface here. Where can I fling? And then you realize, oh, in a test chamber that I just used, I can fling again. This is also a really cool area.
Oh, this is the secret.
Yeah. There's also the secret in here, which I had to make more and more like difficult to find because everyone would. So yeah, you would walk in here, and players wouldn't jump down. They would always walk here, and then this was much brighter, so we'd always go there first and find the secret. Then they would walk around and only then jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the secret.
Then you can explain with your weird niche reference that only 2% of the world would get.
I mean, Twisted Egg. This mod plays in modern Aperture, right? There's no reason for us to give you a different style. It doesn't make sense. Mel's worked because that was made in the 70s or something, right? Whereas we are only in the modern stages of Aperture. Yeah, having 3 different portal gun skins was definitely a lot of work. Oh, that does have collision. Fun. The only thing that I'm pretty sad about is that this portal gun only shows up for like 1 chapter.
God, yeah, that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so annoying. But it's whatever. People can use it in the maps.
It would have been nicer if this gun would have appeared for a bit longer in the game, and then because the red gun is for like half of the game now.
I had this thought that if we kept it for Act 3 and Act 4, like we just didn't have a third one, we just kept it like so you could use it in those big areas maybe, but.
Yeah, I also thought about that, but then we already had built so much that redesigning that to work with portals now just was too late for that. But yeah, this here it's the White Box Master Control Program, which is a reference that only German-speaking people will understand. It's a reference to Bandersbrot, which is like a late-night TV show that plays on a children's channel on repeat. Where there's this bread that's annoyed.
Creepiest thing ever.
Yeah, and the whole thing plays in this like white void. He calls it the white hell. And the voice in the sky that always bullies Bernd. In one episode, he introduces himself as the White Box Master Control Program in German. And the whole thing, Bernd is always being moved around with arms, and the whole thing just felt very Aperture-y. So I thought, this whole thing probably plays in Aperture. And this is the box where Bernd is constantly being tortured.
You should have added like a door or something.
It would have been cool to add more stuff to this, but yeah.
Too late.
This other thing, right? I love adding Easter eggs, but I can't justify taking time away from the actual game just for an Easter egg.
Most people don't know what this is.
Yeah, and also, hey, when we added this, the portal guns didn't work. Rendering was broken. The whole of Act 4 wasn't finished. Act 3 had massive issues everywhere. There's so much stuff going on at the same time everywhere. We actually didn't make this mod in chronological order.
No, it was really weird development cycle. We started off with 1 to 3, Act 1 to 3, and then we did 2 to 4. It was a weird bloody. I don't know why we did that. Why did we do that? But
I don't know what you have against it.
Well, it was just like come on, man. It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
You don't have to make stuff chronological
or at least 4, like 3, 2, 1. Like start from the end.
I mean, the best way to do it is to have one small team for each chapter. That's how the Half-Life 2 development team did it, where they have one cabal for each part of the game.
The cabal system.
Yeah, and then you have one team that can just focus on making that specific area the best it can be.
And then you have those cabal intermediaries that keep everything. Yeah.
This looks really over the top from here.
Yeah.
But from here it looks really
Oh
nice.
god, yeah, that's really weird.
Yes, these flashes always look best when you're looking into them and not...
Yeah, no, from
out
the
of
perspective, it always looks really weird.
From the perspective, it always looks really terrible. It's nice,
Yeah.
great. This is also
it's
really nice,
alright.
like a little dropping down into this. This was also inspired by Factum Solus?
Possibly.
No. Yeah?
Maybe? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, Factum Solus. Yeah. There was in the credits. There was one area where you were in this like cube environment, like Portal 1. These Portal 1 cubes. And I found it was kind of nice. I didn't really capture it too well here, but sort of the idea of this destroyed chamber that you have to go through and solve to get back into the test chambers. Yeah, the broken cube dropper, they always cause issues.
Oh god, yeah, this bloody thing. Such a pain.
Yeah, but I really like how this. I always like doing that stuff where you see that cube from up here and on this layer, and then you go down and you see the cube dropper, so this whole thing connects to the top.
Oh yeah,
I like doing
that.
Yeah, see, I like doing.
I
that
don't
stuff.
know that.
I like doing those things where the stuff is all connected together.
It's always surprises.
It's the same tube that goes through here.
Well, how did I never notice that? What? Okay.
I mean, it makes sense, right? But yeah,
It
you
does
don't
make
think
sense,
about
but you don't think about it.
Yeah.
always have those little moments every time I just like don't notice something.
The lighting in these maps, I mean, the lighting is a combination of real-time shadow maps like these here, and baked lights, right? Like here. This is all just the texture basically.
Yeah, it's a texture that just mimics light.
Yeah, and in here, I mean, this is baked light maps. We didn't make a custom texture, but yeah, these grates are actually props, which mean that they can cast shadows. We talked about it in a previous commentary.
Yeah.
So we just place a light and had this be low shadow map.
And light maps are like
resolution,
textures
high
that
resolution.
get smushed on
Yeah.
materials. So they act as textures and they get stored in the face.
Yeah, lighting these environments.
It's its own art style. It's its own like thing. You know, it's difficult to get right.
I mean, yeah,
get a feel for how lights
lighting
work.
artist is a whole job description.
Yeah, it's.
But I think it
very
is definitely my favorite things about decoration in like environments is the lighting.
Yeah, like if you look at games like Inside, they're pure just lighting. They have no
Yeah.
texture. It's all just really clever shadow
The lighting
control
is so important.
and composition with lighting. Yeah, it can really make or break your scene. You can have the most amazing detailing and top-notch, you know, like details and stuff, spend months on it, and then if your lighting sucks, then it's just falls apart. Looks very flat, looks very bland, doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to have the composition.
Lighting is so
While
important.
for us to get back to the surface.
Yeah, and especially it's even harder in Source because you can't preview it.
Yeah.
You have to just got a blindfold on, just placing around stuff. And to be honest, if you do it after a while,
You'll get used to it.
You can imagine, you can sort of just picture in your head how the lights will look, because you just sort of know how lights work and what brightnesses, how do they look. So you can sort of just render it in your head in a way.
Yeah. You get used to what sort of brightnesses and light values look
Yeah,
good.
and what techniques
And also
you
we
can use.
often use instances for these lights, like here these are instances. So we could just place them and we already know what they're gonna look like. Even though the exposure is still important. Like if you have a
Exposure's
high
another thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's another thing.
We sometimes have to bump up the brightness of these lamps depending on the situation.
Yeah.
Which is why we gave those instances a parameter for the brightness.
Yeah, even some of them I also added like sprites to give it the effective glow, because there's no like
Yeah,
in the bloom's kind of bad.
This is really cool.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
Yeah, this mod has so many little gimmicks in it. With this like destroyed test
Distracts
chamber
you.
sign.
Yeah.
It was inspired by a mod that I playtested that is never released. Where you would enter a test chamber like that, and there would be a turret that points at a test chamber sign, which wasn't broken. That was my idea. But there was very orange lighting, so I thought that would be that is so creepy, right? You enter it and you just always see the laser, and then I thought and then I suggested to the creator that they should make the sign like broken, like the turret shot it, and then They never did it, so I used it for my mod, yes. Yeah, so this texture is made in CineMake and then exported and then put into Blender, where I added all of the
you made it in Blender.
where I added all of the little, like, LCD glitches and stuff. I wanted to make it animated, but it does really make sense for these types of displays to be animated, because that usually only happens for, like,
CRTs.
for CRTs, yeah, where there's a moving beam and stuff like that. But
They tend to have that glitchiness a little bit.
Yeah, but for liquid crystal displays, you never really have that. It's just broken. It's just off.
The lines, the little like lines tend to like sort of shimmer a little bit, like side to side. I've seen some.
Yeah, it can happen, but I couldn't really find reference.
Yeah, you'd need like After Effects and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and then also I just put in the static version for testing, and it already looked so good that I thought, you know what, this is good enough. I'll just leave it at that, and I still think it's really cool.
I think it works really well.
Also, if it was flickering, it would have had to either be in a video or like doing that in Source
on top of refraction and
on top of refraction.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Not after.
Never.
Old engine, not working. But yeah, and I love this because it distracts the player from
exactly
danger.
Something that wasn't really intended is like all of this. I mean, it was intended, but it really worked out really nicely. Is how all of the blood and the broken sign like creeps out players, and then they look at this, and then they hear you are and are surprised.
The mortality rate of that chamber is so high.
And then they see the red line and the noise. Yeah, it's all.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So I used to talk for a bit longer here, so we cut it down because this is annoying.
The yappening.
Yeah. Funnily enough,
Great, that worked. Unfortunately,
Oh god, yeah.
I don't think I can.
right, we just moved the dialogue to later, so you can actually start walking before.
Certain functions are still working.
Yeah, you would actually enter this chamber from here. At some point. Yeah.
And then we didn't do that because
I think it's fine. I think it's pretty cool that you end. But yeah, that was when you. It made sense back then because that was how you would get back into the chambers, but we already did it in previous maps, so this was changed. Yeah. This third chamber is one of my favorites gameplay-wise because it's so open-ended and very combat-like, and I'm really interested in, like, I'm starting to be really interested in like first-person shooter combat, like, you know, fighting enemies and how to place them and stuff like that. This is where I could really explore that idea a lot.
you go for the achievement.
How much the turret's laser is not near the blood? What do you mean?
How did you manage that?
He's just pointed that way.
No, I think he's talking about like how he didn't have the laser show. We just had the turret disabled.
Oh yeah, the turret is just disabled and then you enable him.
So yeah,
or
that's
it.
either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do it in the next chamber as well. Yeah, so first chamber is just... This is again like, you know, reintroducing turrets even though we've already seen them. But yeah, first you just come in from behind. The one that tried to shoot you and now you can knock him over. Second one is... And then this is just placing underneath. But the challenge here is really the Pacifist achievement.
Yeah.
Which was added because playtesters liked not killing turrets.
Yeah. They tried to.
So I thought, you know what, let's encourage that as an achievement. That was a cool idea.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest. It's one of
Yeah, so this one also activates only when you come in. So it kind of looks around.
Yeah, bring more attention.
This also went through a few iterations where, first of all, this bridge wasn't here. You would just have the surface, like the floor down there. So a lot of players would like either place a portal there or there, and then fling down. I wanted to discourage that, so we added the bridge. So now to fall down, it's still pretty easy if you really want to, but it's not as obvious to place them because players did this a lot. Also, this after I added the bridge, this surface was in shadow, so players didn't think that they could portal under that.
Oh god.
Which is so frustrating when they look at that and they think,
Now,
And
from the
then
point
they
crosshair
even
comes with
look
health.
at it and it helps them, but yeah, they didn't realize. So I had to move it up a bit. Very subtle things. So now you can knock that turret over.
And it's the only time that you only know those problems when you play test, because it's just like impossible to
Yeah.
know.
That turret is what added very late to make the pacifist achievement a bit harder, because players could just jump down here and be safe from that turret up there. Them actually enable God. They could just jump down here and then they're safe from that turret, or from both, rather, like this. So this was added as a hazard for that. And the way I do the pacifist now is I jump down here and try to hide behind the pillars, but it's pretty precarious, and I like that.
Correct.
It keeps you on your feet.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah, I have to go soon. So.
Yeah, this also uses 3 projector textures.
Oh god, yeah.
At the same time, one up there, one there, and one there, which is interesting. But yeah,
How you,
but because there's not really anything else graphically intensive except for like 2 refract
yeah, it's not too bad.
surfaces, we can allow it, yeah. Because the memory is really negligible.
Yeah, it's not 2011 anymore.
But the rendering of the whole scene can be expensive if you use a lot of refract, especially if you have a high monitor resolution.
Oh good, yeah.
Right, yeah. I also like that there's this little stair because it makes the flinging a bit more precarious, so you have to really search for a surface. Yeah, this map is called Playground because you can just solve this any way you want. There's a lot of ways to do it. It's one of my favorites. The third was actually added really late. And I kind of, like when I added this, when I worked on this, I felt bad because there was more important stuff for me to work on, but I'm really glad I did. If I added the little turret up there, or rather the big turret.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This was also very different. There was a button here, a floor button that you would stand on to raise this vert door. It was very inspired by early Portal 1 mods like Prelude.
It looks very Ball 1 this test chamber.
It looks very
like
Portal Prelude-y. And also the Flash version map pack had a lot of these like one-dimensional setups. So yeah, the idea is that there is this bridge that you have to run along. And the turrets can shoot you, so you have to get rid of them, so you have to use these. The pacifist, there are many ways to do this, to do this pacifist. The way I like to do it is to like you can get the cube.
Alright.
This is pretty obscure, but yeah, you can get the cube and then place a portal underneath them.
I just had to just jump on the button, to be honest.
You can also just jump on the button, and then you can save the turret. This is a bit, yeah. The second chamber is a bit more. It's a bit more difficult to solve pacifist, but you can also use it as a shield and stuff like that. Yeah, this is fun. This was still a problem. Players get so fixated on using the portals, the cubes knock over the turrets like this. Right. But yeah, we kind of didn't want that to be the only way to do it, right? So, I mean, for me, it wasn't even the intended solution. Of course, you can do it. I'm fine with it, but intended solution was to fling yourself up there like this, and then knock over the turrets, which is much easier. So yeah, a lot of things like the placement of the button being so awkward and far away helps in like discouraging players to do this. Also things like the rising platforms here. Players
trying to call attention.
Players
Those don't have
might
clips.
notice it.
Underneath them. The pistons.
Yeah, and this was also filled with goo, and then I drained it. There's still the sign there, like it's.
Oh, we're gonna have an Easter egg back there as well.
Yeah, I wanted, but we didn't know what to put there.
Yeah. sustainable.
But yeah, and that should also encourage players to fling, because now it's less dangerous as before. Because players would actually tell me, yeah, I thought about flinging there, but I was scared I would fall into the pit, so I didn't do it. So yeah, all of these things were made to sort of discourage players from fixating too much on this. Not because this is bad, just because if players think that, like players who think that this is the only way to do it, might be a bit disappointed. Oh well, this whole thing is just about that. Whereas you can also do it like that. You know, you can also do it like this, which is fun. Yeah, we wanted to add a little Easter egg back here. We had to jump over that, and then there's this event that you have to crawl through. But we never added anything there. Just because we didn't have time. And we didn't know what to put there. Like we have a lot of spots for Easter eggs, but no Easter eggs to put there. They took so much time to make. Yeah, I like adding these like this 45-degree rotated buttons. I think that's very Portal 1-esque.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that helped here is if you knock over the turrets there, players didn't think that this surface was aligned with the bridge. So we added these little pillars to sort of, in the geometry, show the players, hey, this is on the same, plane. And that definitely fixed that issue. Another issue was that players would just blindly jump out there and fall into the goo. So I made this a bit brighter and changed out the color temperature. So the foreground is like a bit reddish, whereas the background is very blue. So that helps to distinguish the foreign background here. And players since then have always used this because this is the safe way to do it. Little tiny things, but they did help. It's always satisfying when those weird psychedelic things that you came up with. Oh, let's do this to show the players that. And when they actually work, that's that's very rewarding. Yeah, and then Sterling also has a different line for telling you.
There's no need to be so cruel to them.
And yeah, so the animation was also really late because I thought it was nice. Yeah, Sterling tells you that you shouldn't be too cruel to them, but if you do save all of them, then he tells you. Then he asks you why you saved them because they could have killed you. You can never win with him.
More chambers to reach the spire.
Yeah, someone else is giving me a chance for a second game in the future.
From what I heard, it's a pretty
Fortunately, I
complicated
don't think so.
cognitive test which only a smart human mind can pass. I don't know what
This is a favorite chamber.
Make sure to save some of that brain
Oh god, oh yeah, it's this
later.
one.
Yeah, I definitely see why people like the style of this because it feels very approachable, right? A lot of our other chambers they have a lot of stuff, so it feels to players like, or to other mappers, like, oh, this takes so much time. I'll never have that much time to make this, or I'll never be able to, and I don't have the skill or whatever. Whereas this is pretty simple. It doesn't have too much going on, but still looks cool, which, yeah. You're talking about a second game,
Let's see, no more.
I mean, I would really love to make a second game. I think it's just we all also want to make something different.
Yeah, sort of.
And we just don't have the means to make that right now because yeah, we already spent way longer on this than we should have. Right, a lot of us haven't even started to go into the working sector. Most of us didn't even have a job or any sort of income. We just worked on this either during school or in that weird area where we say, no, mom and dad, I want to make this Portal mod.
I want to make Portal mods, goddammit, come on.
Yeah. We already stretched that time to the max and have to do something else now. But I would have a really cool idea. And it would be really cool to work on one. But right now there's just no... We just don't have the means to do that. Yeah, this chamber is a funny one. I really like it. It has just had some stupid bugs. So yeah, this chamber relies a lot on like physics cheats.
Well,
And
I think
it-
I've got to.
And if those,
now.
you have to go. Okay.
All right.
Well, good having
See you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.
I'm not gonna change the ending. That makes no sense. This is that doesn't make sense because for other, for some players it will always be the original ending and stuff like that. It makes no sense to change an ending of a story like this. And I'm happy with the ending. If some don't like it, then they don't like it. But yeah, I think we did a pretty nice ending to the game. We did intentionally leave the game open for expansion, but I also wanted to close this current story. I just didn't want to. The thing with Portal 2's ending is it's a nice ending, but it also is a bit too nice, right? It is so final that it makes expansion almost impossible. Whereas with this ending, we're closing down the current story, but leave room for expansion if it will ever happen, even if it's a different mod or like a fan fiction or something. There is just the potential for expansion. So yeah, this chamber relied a lot on physics cheats, like catapults and stuff like that. And if those physics cheats break, then you're in trouble. Yeah, but yeah, I really like the CES chamber. We use the ball here pretty much just because it's easier to maneuver through portals and to bounce on shell especially. Yeah, I really like how you have to use the same. I always like doing that, where the same element is used in different ways. Like here, the tractor beam is used to bring in the ball. We could have also just had the ball dropper right there, but that just adds a bit of extra, another extra thing that you have to do. That is difficult, but sort of introduces the chamber to you. Oh, this button activates the tractor beam, and you learn that by bringing in the ball. And then you use the tractor beam to transport shell, and you have to use the momentum saving it again to bring it over there. And then you have to use it yourself to fling over there, the same way that you did with the paint. What am I doing? I have to do this. Yeah. Yeah, this... Yeah, and then the surface here, so you can get the wall. Yeah, so this this button actually has a catapult attached to it. So if you paint, there's a lot of triggers here. When there's a ball on there, and it gets painted, then this catapult will always fling the painted ball over in the corner here, because otherwise there's a chance that the ball will fly straight up, fall down, reactivate it for a second, and catch the player mid-air for a second, and then they lose all the momentum and can't make the fling. Stupid stuff like that. Also, it helps to just get the ball out of the way, because otherwise it could bounce into the trajectory of the player. It can still do that a bit if it bounces straight here, but it's not really block the player too much. But yeah, this little cheat here helps a lot with fixing that. Another thing here is this catapult to get the ball perfectly into the socket here.
Oh, that was satisfying.
Yeah, so that catapult gets activated when so there is a gel sensor, a paint sensor was added in P2C, and when that sensor detects any gel here, it will activate that catapult for the ball to always make it in the socket. And for some reason on some people's PCs, once we release the game, this never happened in testing and ever. Sometimes it just doesn't get activated, it just doesn't the paint sensor just doesn't trigger. So this catapult wasn't enabled, which means that the ball would never make the jump. So yeah, in the update we just lowered the platform here a bit. So if this doesn't work, the ball will at least still be catchable by you. It still sucks that this is a bug that is in the engine, but I have no idea what causes it, and I'm completely unable to reproduce it at all. So this is just the only way that we could at least, you know, make it so we could actually solve the test chamber. But yeah, I think this is really cool. There's also a lot of triggers here. There's also a V-physics motion trigger in here, which the sort of you can use it to like make balls or other physics objects stick in it a bit. So this sort of like makes the ball not roll over, and it's still a bit random whether it perfectly catches the ball or whether it rolls over. I thought about making it always catch it, but I thought it was nice that it's sort of, you know, a chance, and then we can add an achievement to it and different voice lines. So that's pretty cool. It's always very satisfying to do this sort of stuff. Right. For the people asking to donate, there's gonna be a way to do that in the future, just not right now. Yeah, because there was just a lot of like tax questions and stuff like that that I had to get answered. I like how the door like turns off here. That's so fun. I was like this is again, you know, the whole facility is breaking apart, things don't work as they're supposed to, you have to use different ways to navigate.
Sky! Finally, we're back! We're getting pretty close to our goal. Don't die now.
Yeah, this chamber is pretty cool as well. I tried to reuse the showers here again. And yeah, the thing with in Portal 2, painted objects aren't even used that much, because they only have negative effects, right? So in Portal 2, they use the bouncing cube in Act 3, and you have to clean it using the cleaning gel. And this is pretty much just a different looking version of the cleaning gel. Yeah, this is actually the fling why we added that introduction to flinging at the beginning of this act. This is much later now, but whatever. Yeah, again, another pretty unnecessary fling here, where we could have just started the play here, or even had a bridge or something. But this is just a bit more fun, and you know, just add a bit of complexity to the thing. So yeah, in here we actually spawn a pre-painted cube, and you have to clean it, because obviously, and that was a nice way to use the fizzler. So you have to use, or the shower, so you have to use this to clean the cube. and then you can get it. I think that's pretty cool. The thing about this chamber is this used to be actually much more complicated, and then it was made less complicated, and then it was made more complicated again. Just at first there was like a floor here and a portable surface, and you would have to do weird stuff. It didn't work because the focus of this chamber should be about this loop and painting the cube, cleaning the cube with it. That's the focus of the chamber, right? So all of this crap that we added there just completely went against that. So then the door was moved to here, but that was then just too simple, because then now you just get the cube, put it on there, and you're done, which just felt a bit unsatisfying. I added an achievement for players to fling in a loop here. Right, so if you fling in a loop here for long enough, you would get an achievement. And then I thought, you know what? Why not make that part of the solution, so you have to just do another fling here and get up there. And this isn't really complicated. It just adds an extra step to the chamber, so that after you're done with the with that, you get to do a cool fling yourself. Because playtesters were actually a bit sad that they wouldn't get to make this fling themselves, or that it wasn't part of the chamber anymore. Yeah, if you have a save that crashes when you load it, you can send it to me or to us on Discord, and then we can look into it. So yeah, that was pretty cool. It took a long time to decorate as well, mainly because the lighting was just it just didn't work. So I changed a lot of stuff, and I think it's pretty nice. Because this is supposed to be like, you know, sort of getting noon. The sun is way too high up still for it to be this color, but yeah, the sun has to be up, otherwise there's no sunlight in here. It's gonna be cheat a bit.
Where the goal is to clean up the gels. Most of them encourage you to smear it all over the place, especially anywhere I can reach.
I'm gonna play until like I'll finish this chapter and then I'll call it quits. It's basically one act per stream. Oh no, it's this map. Oh my god, this map is a big one. Yeah. This is a beast of a map. Favorite looking map would definitely be this area. I mean, it is probably gonna be this for gameplay as well. Like, if this was a standalone map, it works pretty well. You have this really pretty vista here, sort of closing off the chapter. You reached your goal, you know. You've got the awesome orange, nice sunset. Starly looking into the distance, bird flying away.
We'll have done it soon. What are you waiting for? Let's go.
You've got the spire here. So much decoration and so much work went into this. This little cross section was actually a completely different part before, and now we just repurposed it for here. All the tubes and the cables. It's really, this took so long to make, and I think it ended up really, really well. And this whole like lighting here just ended up so nice. Yeah, I'm definitely really proud of this vista. This was basically all made by me, of this vista. Monty did, I think Monty or Ace. Others decorated this section a bit more, like added these pipes, and down there a bit of stuff, and changed out, made a custom rock here. So this was a massive collaborative effort. Everyone had their hands in this. Monty at some point added the crow flying off. This was originally where you would get the full portal gun. This would be at the middle of this chapter, so much earlier. And there would be a claw here that would hold the portal gun. And the vista was much worse. So yeah, then we repurposed it for the ending, and you would see the spire, and that took so much time to change everything. Like, this area is a mishmash of so many different maps, and that just takes so long to connect everything up. Yeah, this area was always there with like that bit here, but this was also changed a lot with new particles and new water and stuff. Yeah, again, to sort of re-emphasize that you going through Aperture on unintended paths through the sewer system, sort of forging your own path. This was actually, like in a previous version of this, before there was a spire, there was this large, weird, like, hole you would have to fall into, when this was still at the middle of this act. So that was all changed. Now there's just a little conveyor belt again to sort of move along in unconventional ways. It's a bit. These connecting areas are a bit too walking simulatory for me, but it was necessary because they're of the geometry of the map. But they're not too long, so I'm not too annoyed at them. And it ended up looking pretty nice. Like the custom ducts and everything, the lighting from beneath is pretty nice. You used to actually be able to see over there much better because this actually connects to this area from where you would later be. But players would be able to place portals in there and stuff like that. Yeah, I had to sort of block it off a bit.
Of course. And so close to the finish line, another chamber. Well, I don't see any way to help you here. You'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way.
This chamber used to be... this chamber used to have an open sky. This is probably my biggest like decoration regrets. This used to have an open sky where the sun would like shine in from the side, like a really low sunlight. It would have looked so cool. However, geometry is our enemy, because the sunlight would have to stream from all the way there, and it just doesn't do that. So that was sort of an engine limitation. It's not even an engine limitation. It's just we designed the geometry this way. So the sunlight wouldn't stream in here. We tried to cheat our way around it, but it never really worked, because the dynamic sunlight didn't appreciate that. So now it's just this. I think it's still a cool style, but I really wanted to make that, to play around with the lighting more, and so I'm sad I couldn't, but yeah, whatever. The power breakers. Yeah, the power breakers were, I just read comments, so I was saying, people really like these, and I like them as well, because they are one of those gameplay elements that interact with everything else, right? Sometimes you come up with a gameplay element, and it's like, okay, it interacts with that, but not that, or it's like this can only be used with lasers and stuff like that. And then there's stuff like this where this interacts with everything, because this turns the power off, which now gives you benefits because the fizzlers are off, but it's also got negative effects because doors don't open anymore. And that is so interesting. Those are always my favorite test elements, or like in general gameplay elements, when they have a benefit and also a downside, and that makes for good puzzles. So the first puzzle was pretty much just meant to introduce you to the whole concept. This was originally so much smaller, and then I added the whole second area. So yeah, this just teaches you, hey, you know, droppers don't work, doors don't work. And it's placed in such a way that you have to flick the lever on and on a bunch of times to get this to work. To also teach you, maybe you can also turn the power off before, but yeah, it also shows you, if you do it this way, that the door opens here, and then it also stays open. That was also a thing I wanted to tell the player, is that it stays open if it's already open, because it takes power to close it. Yeah. It's a bit dark here without any lights, but we added little things like the glowing signs, and this also has lighting, and there's some lights in there as well, just to sort of orient you. Right, and now you're just done. Yeah, it would have been cool to use this a bit more, honestly. It's one of my favorite elements as well. But these were added pretty late. I didn't really even think about them as a gameplay element. I just thought, hey, you know, I have to add something between you entering there and going into the spire there. And I didn't originally even want to add test chambers. I just thought, well, I have to add something. That I thought, you know what, let's do test chambers. And I had this idea, which I wanted to explore in chapter 4, in act 4 before, but I moved it to this act just before the spire. I've got a little intermediate area here again. A bit Portal 1-esque, where you have to like fall in the portal here. And then little things like I don't think anyone's ever seen this. This is the Spire Examination Platform, and this is the Spire Examination Platform break room right there. So you've got the Spire Examination Platform and the Spire Examination break room. Very important.
Halfway there. At least it's a good view. Life gets a bit claustrophobic down in the facility.
Yeah. This vista used to be... This is an early this is 2020. Early version of this environment, where it actually had rain, but it never worked properly. And there would be the bridge right here. That was added later. But I pretty much just experimented with the sort of glass stuff here. It also had the old cones. It also had a cool extension that went like diagonal here, but then this also had to be on 2 diagonals, and there was just awful visibility, so it was changed. So now I've got the cool Monty's cool cones here. They're really nice. You can stack them. I'm glad that players like them as well. Yeah, they're really nice. They're really nice. Really well made. So yeah, a little vista here again. So you can examine the spire a bit. You have to drop through and go down here again. I'll drop it in another chamber.
If this isn't the last chamber, I'm going to assume you're doing this just to mess with me.
Used to be much more angry at you here as well, so it was changed. This is definitely one of my favorite chambers. Because it's got so few elements. And it went through so many iterations. And I definitely like it. Because I think it's really unique. because yeah, a lot of people have trouble with this chamber. I'll just solve it first, and I'll talk about the design here. So you bounce the cube, get the cube. And yeah, and the problem is, you can fling yourself up there, but because there's goo here, you can't fling the cube up. Because you can't go in it, right? Like here, you can now do this. And now you're up, but you can't do the same on the other side. So yeah, and that is what we use the power switch for. So you have to put it on the catapult. Now you have enough time to go back here. And then you just flick on the thing, and there we go. Even lands perfectly on there. How satisfying. So yeah, this used to be really different. This is a really early version of that chamber. You can recognize some bits, like there's like catapult that leads into there, and you've got the angled panels and the buttons and stuff like that. But the rest is, I mean, look at, there was even a light bridge involved and death fizzlers. Yeah. I'm honestly surprised how old this is. But yeah, then this was changed, so there's now a there's this like thing that you have to bounce it into, and the glass would render weirdly. Just ignore that. Yeah, so definitely, just this went for a lot of changes, and one of the things was, the whole difficulty was that how can I make it so you have to use this to in the chamber, right? Because otherwise, because before the button was up over there, and you could just place a button on the a portal on the angled surface there, and you could just respawn the cube and fling it into that. So then I added the death fizzle, so you would have to turn off the power for that. So it would go in. That was all jank. Easiest solution was just again to use geometry to have a panel there, so when you're up there you just can't shoot the surface, which makes it impossible to respawn it from up there. But players sometimes, they think, oh, you have to do that, and they realize that the catapult launches that and everything like that. So the difficulty is just connecting that you can use the disabled catapult to buffer the cube. Yeah, I really like the final version of this chamber. There's also a really cool intermediary space with a lot of vac tubes going everywhere. You used to actually explore this observation room here. You would enter it through here, and then you would exit it through here, and then you would go in there. But I didn't like how I didn't know how to decorate this. So then at some point Ace, when decorating this, added this observation room here, which wasn't explorable, but I really liked the lighting in there, So I made it a feature, and now you have to go back through here, which I also like. I always like it when you can see areas where you've been before, right? Or where you're going to go. So now this just reroutes through here, through this nice third vista, which is probably one of my favorites as well. I mean, look at that. Lighting and everything. All of the moss and plants in different dust modes. There's just so many little details here. You have to portal through here. And now, yeah. And then here to sort of just little details like this is like a lift that would bring up cargo, and then they would roll it on this floor over here into the spire.
This spire reaches from the bottommost parts of the facility all the way up to the surface. You certainly don't want to fall down that shaft. After you.
Yeah, now you're finally at the bridge, which you've seen since there. And you can enter this large structure. So they would like bring cargo through here, and then up there into the elevator here again. I always like doing little things like that. It just makes it feel like this space is actually used. Yeah. This area is pretty simple, honestly, like geometry-wise. It's at first I wanted the whole interior of the spire to be very like clean and pristine. Oh yeah, talking about the design of the spire, we should have Monty for this, or Frosty even. Yeah, at first I wanted to have the interior like all be very shiny and pristine and like untouched, to sort of have a big contrast between the outside and inside areas. I still liked the idea, but it was a bit too boring visually. So we changed it to have these like dingy sort of also destroyed offices here to sort of, it's supposed to look a bit like still abandoned and creepy with the lighting, with the very red lighting. Sort of make people uneasy of what they're gonna find here. Still more cones, of course. Gonna add cone gameplay. Yeah, there's the little sign here that tells you that you shouldn't bring teleportation equipment into the specimen chamber. Very important. Don't do that. Oh yeah, the uncensored presentation. I can finally see everything. Yeah. Yeah. So it's meant to be like intentionally terribly made. Like how they would use the Spire like as a subscription service to like remotely remove pre-digested matter. Like, yeah, that because important too. You know, all of the gels are like dietary products. So I thought it would be fun that even the Spire, which is like a device that can teleport anything to anywhere, like it basically swaps to space to like areas of space. They would use that to like teleport food out of your digestive system as a dietary product, and they would use it as a subscription service. But they had to discontinue it because they teleported more than just the undigested matter, which feels, I mean, it just feels so gross to me. It's like such body horror. Yeah. Needleless blood donations. I then thought about other ways that you can use this, and I was just constantly grossed out and like, yeah, you could just teleport the blood out of people or pump, yeah, fume D delivery. Yes. Yeah. You could also wireless gasoline refilling, surgery device, and then also transporting rocks. Yeah. I think it's a really interesting idea. I wanted to sort of bring in some Half-Life lore with, like, you know, what the Borealis would be. And this is like another, like a step on top of the portal gun. You know, where the portal gun, you still have to physically shoot a portal somewhere, whereas the Spire could just instantly swap them. Like, you could just be teleported to another planet, without even having to go there at all. Yeah, also some other like things to, again, connect the areas is here, like this door actually connects to this door. It's the same door. And later, when you fight Sterling, spoilers, you'll have to go back through here and jump through the glass that's now broken here, and then use this door, which connects to this area here. I always like doing stuff like that.
What a machine. Let's look for the input. Look for things that seem complicated.
The Spire. This is the most... This was the most demanding area for us to create. In all aspects. Especially the especially the finale. But it applies to this as well. Just coming up with the idea of how it's like, how the logistics work, how the design should be, how it should sound, how it should look. All of it is super difficult, and this is the most custom asset heavy area that we have. Yeah, and the design that Monty made for this is fantastic. It perfectly matches, like, combines the aperture style with a bit of a different, more metallic, hexagonal, almost Combine-esque structure. I mean, Combine-esque would be a bit more angular, in my opinion. At first, the core ball was meant to be an icosahedron, but that was a bit too Half-Life Alyx-y for us. So we changed it out to just be a ball. And yeah, Monty did a fantastic job on all of this. Originally, there were these tubes, not these tubes, these like emitters here that would shoot beams into the core. That was changed, that was removed because it was too many custom assets, and we replaced it with these hoses here, these little pipes that you would have to disconnect in the finale. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this came together, because this took so long to create, and everything from the like floor tiles here, which Frosty made, to the new like models under there and everywhere that Monty created, to the music that Jared made for the finale and also for here. This is again one of those incredibly collaborative areas. Why is it disabled? Honestly, I don't know. That's the sort of, it's supposed to be sort of a mystery, you know. Maybe it's gonna be explored at some point if we make a second game. But it's sort of supposed to be a mystery. It's just, this thing is so dangerous because it's got some implications with Combine and Half-Life that it was even too dangerous for Aperture, which is why they didn't use it.
Wait, that's it? You
Yeah,
just need to press a button.
all the sequences here, like the lights turning on.
Whatever.
the fog changing,
Soon see what this
these
boost is
animations.
capable of. We need to run a series of checks. There should be a cube arriving near you any second.
All of the animations here, and then the animations over there where it drops the cube. Then it disconnects and it floats in there to sort of show that this delivers this like fume that's in there. That's in like a constant. I shouldn't shake my camera. That makes people dizzy. Yeah, the idea is that this fume is like highly energetic, and it is what's being used to teleport stuff, and it's got this momentum that to keep it steady, they just have to keep it in a constant loop. And this part of the system is pretty interesting how it's made, because it's like semi-random as it goes in loop. That took a lot of time to make. These are obviously inspired by the Portal 2 beta elevators, and then Monty made them again made a different version of them for the. This, I think they're really cool. This keeps blinking. This used to actually stop, but it was suggested by Anna that it should keep blinking until you pick it up.
Please put that into the
Which makes no sense from a realistic standpoint, but it makes sense gameplay wise. Yeah, again, some more like cargo elevators here. This isn't crazy decoration, but it is something at least. Yeah, and the whole idea was that, you come here, you still have no idea what it does basically, and you just put it in there. Starling is pretty untrustworthy and suspicious lately, the whole time. So you're sort of like, what is it not telling me? Put the companion cube in there.
First test on an inanimate object. If all goes well, the cube will be teleported to the other chamber. Oh, please work. Starting first jump now.
Sounds made by Jared here.
It worked. It actually worked. That's very good. See, while low-tech devices like your handheld portal device need to place physical portals to achieve teleportation, this little guy can instantly swap any 2 volumes of space in the whole universe. We designed entire test chambers around not being able to shoot portals through walls, while this thing just bypasses our 3-dimensional plane. Anyway, let's recycle that cube. Gotta clean up after ourselves.
Yeah, Starling's that monologue is a bit long. I'm not a fan of locking in players until they listen to the core, but sometimes you just have to do it in very important cases, like here, for you to understand what this thing does. First of all, we show it first, and then he explains it further. For very important story points, we just have to do it. Otherwise, what was that? The hell? Interesting. Otherwise, players just don't pay attention. Yeah, this is a bit, reminiscent of Portal. But I think it's funny because we added a twist on it that you then jump out of it. Added all of the particle systems for this. It's a custom particle, and then you get the Gibbs.
One more test we need to
Gotta
pass.
clean up after
First
ourselves.
comes inanimate,
Come on.
then animate. Please enter the specimen chamber.
I also think that's a bug that doesn't have the right Gibbs. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a bit cartoony that Sterling, it can seem a bit cartoony that Sterling tells you, basically he doesn't turn on you. He just he tells you that he wants to reassemble GLaDOS after you've entered the chamber and you've got no way to do anything. We just had to do that because otherwise players just wouldn't enter it, They would just stand here like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Do a standard parable on me, give me more dialogue. So we do it after you enter it, and you're basically helpless to do anything.
You'll have to temporarily resign as janitor. No worries, I'll rehire you after the test, but I need a registered test subject to complete.
Yeah, then also again to sort of add to the untrustworthiness is he lied to you about the human emergency response team. Then he forced you to become a janitor, which he also didn't give you any say in. Then he just told you you're gonna have to follow me to this thing. Now we enter the test chamber without really knowing what he's gonna do. He fires us from our job. So he's just shoving us around left and right to whatever he needs, which was meant to make him untrustworthy and sort of suspicious and a bit sketchy.
Continue. Good. We're almost there.
And then he tells you,
Doing this for us. Well, time to put an end to the collapse. Let's rebuild the central core. Oh, right. You probably know her as GLaDOS. It's about time we bring her back, don't you think?
Yeah, and then one of the things that Portal 2 never does is the characters never say the name of the other characters. And I try to keep that consistent here, and here he only says it like, oh, you know her as that, right? And I did that only so players understand what we're talking about, right? You just have to be blunt. Because in games, players often don't pay attention. So yeah, that's why he says GLaDOS' name, but I wrote it in a way that it's like, you know her, you probably know her as GLaDOS, even though to me she's whatever. Yeah, and I think that twist works pretty well, because your goal aligns with his goal at first, right? You want to rebuild Aperture because for you it's the only way to survive. That makes sense. And then you find out how he actually wants to achieve that goal, which that doesn't align with it. And those are always the most interesting villains for me. The ones that you can agree with on one end, like you can agree with their goals, but you can't agree with the means of achieving those goals. The most popular example that's, is probably Thanos from the Avengers Infinity Saga, where you can agree that overpopulation is a problem, but you don't agree with his sentiment that killing half of the population is the way to do it, even though you can agree that he is kind of fair by just doing it randomly. But still, you can't agree with that. And those are always the most interesting villains for me. And in my mind, Sterling isn't even a villain. He isn't even really a villain. It's just you both have different. Your goals just conflict with each other, right? And you can also understand why he wants to bring back GLaDOS, because he's a core made by Aperture. She's always worked here. To him, this is just her boss. Or maybe I should talk about that more later. But we also introduced the whole idea of his abandonment issues with Conley, where he's just a vacuum cleaner cleaning up stuff, and then he was given consciousness and then just shoved into a bin or something, like in the corner. Hey, I don't need you anymore, right? And then maybe he found new comfort in GLaDOS. It's something we never really explored in the story. That, because Conley abandoned him, he would find comfort in GLaDOS, because she valued him as what he was, maybe, because I don't want to write too much of that, because that goes into very cringy fanfiction. Someone asked why the facilities are clean at the bottom. It's because they're further down. My idea is that the destruction starts at the top and seeps through down, right? And you can even see the destruction down below. Everything is dead and offline. It's just because there's no sunlight and foliage on there doesn't mean it's not destroyed or like dilapidated. You can definitely see how it's getting torn apart. You've got like dripping water and like everything is dead down there. So yeah, that was the idea, and I think that it works well. People really like Sterling. That yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting character. That you can agree with his goals, but not with the means. And this twist comes pretty naturally. And I'm actually surprised how many players don't predict this one. I thought it would be very predictable, but apparently, I mean, obviously, now some of you will say, I totally predicted it, but to me it feels pretty obvious, but I guess other players, they just don't think about it that much, and I pretty liked. I think that worked pretty nicely.
That monster spreader parts
Oh yeah,
all over themselves.
I think that was the parking, referring to parking a lot, I think was just improvised by, I think it was improvised by Will on the spot of recording. And I like that inclusion because it gives players a reason why she's no longer at the parking lot in Portal 2.
Even the parking lot. No way.
Like, the way that she's actually reassembled in Portal 2 and not spread across the parking lot sort of shows that maybe he was actually successful in reassembling GLaDOS. Right? Like, that final blow of the spire may have done that job and then broken itself, which now gives room for Portal 2 to happen. It was something we never really explored too much, but it's something that player can have in their own headcanon.
And how I could get her back together without this machine. Time to start the test. See you on the other side. That's not good.
Yeah, now everything goes to hell.
In there?
We didn't really have a way to choreograph that the portal gun is what's causing the spire to blow up. We only really show that, like talk about that in Act 4. Would have been cool to add some sort of pilot systems, but that stuff is just so impossible in Source. The view model is handled in such a different way to everything else. You have to program a bunch of crap, and in the end we just didn't have time to implement that. Like a particle that like explodes the portal gun. It is disabled now, and you see that it's broken in the end. But that is players haven't really complained that much about it, so I think that worked pretty well. Yeah, if then we revisit these areas here, like the 70s.
Thought I lost you. I can fix this. I know I can. Just give me a second.
And now the companion cube thing,
I almost fixed it.
which Ace mapped, and then I made all clone.
About this before you leave again. Get ready.
Cutting room floor. Yeah. I'll end the stream here, so thanks for watching. We'll continue this someday. Hopefully not in 20 years. Or 20 days. Yeah, how long have I been streaming? I don't... Okay, for quite a while, for 3 hours. That's fine. yeah, I'm just thinking about what I can say about the previous map. I'll just quickly load End 2 again. So yeah, in this map, let me just quickly walk forward so we can get some better exposure. In here we should get exposure, there we go. Okay, he's done talking. So yeah, all of these areas are just all here. Right, there's this big 70s area here, which was stripped down. Probably more stuff we could strip, but yeah. We thought about using the 80s area that we have coming up, but just didn't do that because we didn't want to have another chamber that was like another map that was copy pasted across multiple levels, because that was a nightmare. Right, and the companion cube chamber is over here. There's so much detail in here that you never really get to see. Yeah, I really like how this turned out. So there's different fog when you're in here, of course. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. This even turns on when you walk through it, but you never have time. Yeah. And 1 is just the previous version. Oh, there's also this. I'm one of the development builds, so I have extra maps. Yeah, this is just that map on its own. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. So see you all in the next stream. Bye.